processed and dried unprocessed food. Our mission at Gabby Dave is to connect African and Caribbean businesses to customers globally. At Gabby Dave, we ensure our sellers get the best deal for their products. We are not just here to help you reach a wider audience. We are also a distribution center to support business growth by fulfilling orders to your customers from our warehouse, making sure customers receive their products on time. We are inviting all Black-owned businesses to trade on our platform because we strongly believe Africans have a unique brand the customer would appreciate globally. So get in touch today and let us make your product and business go far. Here are some of the benefits of using Gabby Dave Global. User-friendly platform, track your shipment, online support, transparent process, multiple SKUs, multiple products, a platform that encourages manufacturers as well as traders. Our marketing and PR interventions amplifies yours. Organized products and categories for easy access and navigation. Access to global community, especially within UK and Europe.
I would have thought of that if I hadn't intended them originally to be independent stories.
That's Jennifer Egan on World Book Club after the news.
BBC News. Hello, this is Jerry Smith. Russia says more than 1,000 Ukrainian soldiers who surrendered after the fall of Mariupol have been transferred to Russia for investigation. They're among some 2,500 taken captive after the siege and destruction of the port city. Joe Inwood is in Kiev.
These are people who here are considered heroes. They were soldiers that fought defending the city of Mariupol, and that battle is something that the Ukrainians feel gave them a real advantage in the rest of this war. However, in Russia they're thought of very differently, especially the fighters of the Azov battalion. That's the group who once at their formation were thought to have associations with the far right, obviously now integrated into the Ukrainian military, but that is why there are fears that these soldiers could be put on trial. Previously, members of the Russian parliament have called for them to be treated as war criminals, as terrorists. Some have even called for the death penalty in their cases.
The Russian and Turkish foreign ministers have been meeting in Ankara as Turkey continues efforts to broker a way of unblocking exports of grain from Ukraine. It's been holding talks with both warring parties as pressure mounts to ease a global grain shortage. Anna Foster is in Istanbul.
What Turkey is hoping to try and do today is mediate between Russia and Ukraine. The Ukrainian Foreign Ministry have already put out a statement this morning saying that they are potentially concerned that any safe passage that is agreed may be used by Russia to try and attack Ukrainian interests, to attack, for example, Odessa on the south coast. There has been for weeks and months now, understandably, a real lack of trust between the sides, and that's where Turkey sees itself stepping in, making sure areas like this, the Bosphorus, this absolutely key route for bringing grain out through the Black Sea, is safe, is demined, and trying to build the trust of both sides.
The head of the World Food Programme says the continued blockade of Ukraine's ports will amount to a declaration of war on global food security. A court in Thailand has sentenced a notorious police officer known as Joe Ferrari and 5 others to life in prison for torturing a drug suspect to death. Jonathan Head reports from Bangkok.
Thai customs officers believe he owned more than 40 luxury cars, including a rare Lamborghini valued at $1.5 million. That's 1,000 times more than his monthly salary. Last year, someone in his police station leaked a security camera video showing him torturing a drug suspect by tying plastic bags over his head. The suspect later died. Allegations of police corruption and abuses in custody are frequently heard in Thailand, but rarely investigated. Successive governments have promised to reform the police, but little has come of those promises.
World news from the BBC. 2 of the most high-profile bosses of global football have gone on trial in Switzerland for fraud and criminal mismanagement. The cases against Sepp Blatter, the former head of FIFA, and Michel Platini, who led its European counterpart UEFA, relate to a $2 million payment FIFA made to Mr. Platini in 2011. Prosecutors say the payment, linked to advisory work done a decade earlier, was fraudulent, as Mr. Platini had already been paid. They deny the charges. If found guilty, they face up to 5 years in jail. A train has derailed in Iran, killing at least 17 people and injuring dozens more. The train was travelling between the cities of Mashhad and Yazd. Here's Sebastian Usher.
Pictures on Iranian state media show one train carriage lying on its side, while 4 others have also come off the track and crumpled into one another. Most of the injured are said to be in a critical condition as ambulances and helicopters rushed them to hospital. The deputy head of Iranian Railways said that the accident happened when the train hit an excavator near the track. It comes after the collapse of a 10-storey building in the city of Abadan last month, which killed more than 40 people and continues to stir anger and protests, with people accusing the authorities of negligence and corruption.
A study in Britain suggests adults who experience frequent bad dreams and nightmares may be at increased risk of developing Parkinson's disease. The scientists say if people experience a worsening of their dreams in older age without any obvious trigger, it may be that they should seek medical advice. Climate scientists say Australia is greatly underestimating how much methane is leaking from its coal mines. By measuring the gas leaking from the mine, and not just the coal removed from the site, methane levels increased, in the case of one mine, by a factor of 10. And those are the latest stories from BBC News.
Hello, this is the BBC World Service. I'm Catherine Lanfer. We have a special World Book Club this month. We come to you today from the splendid Brooklyn Central Library in New York. Guests of their programming arm, BPL Presents, as the library celebrates its 125th year. And joining me is American author Jennifer Egan to talk about her Pulitzer Prize-winning 2010 novel, A Visit from the Goon Squad. Here we find 13 interconnected stories in what is a quintessentially New York work. The Goon Squad is how one character refers to time, that relentless and pitiless bully who leaves no one unmarked. This is a book preoccupied with the passage of time. We're led on a zigzagging tour through the lives of our protagonists, replete with backstories and piercing glimpses into their futures. The novel opens with kleptomaniac Sasha, the knowing assistant to Benny, a former punk rocker turned corporate record executive. In the following chapters, we meet a chorus of characters, all of whom orbit Benny and Sasha's world, some briefly, some with lasting impact. To read Goon Squad today is to marvel at Egan's prescience and also to revel in her great big heart. Do join me in welcoming Jennifer Egan to World Book Club. So, we're here near your home neighborhood in the glorious Brooklyn Library. What does this place mean to you?
Well, I did a lot of research for my last novel, Manhattan Beach, here, and I especially spent time in the maps room, looking at maps of old Brooklyn and sort of how the waterfront has changed over time, where the landfill went in, and in fact looked at a lot of photographs of this library being built and what this neighborhood looked like before. So it feels like a beautiful local artifact of the passage of time, actually.
Let's turn to the audience. Dan is here, and he has a question.
Hi, I'm Dan. I'm from Brooklyn. How did you decide on the structure of Goon Squad, with each chapter written from a different point of view, jumping back and forth in time, but with each piece intricately connected to the others?
Well, two things. One is, when I started writing this book, I actually didn't realize that it was a book. I thought I was just passing some time and procrastinating, really, putting off the historical novel that I knew was going to take so much work. So I wrote a story about a woman stealing a wallet, and in the course of that story, there was a brief mention of her former boss who sprays pesticide in his armpits and puts gold flakes in his coffee, which I wrote just in passing, kind of for a laugh. And then I thought, yeah, but why does he do those things? So I decided to write a story about him. And then in the course of writing that, there was a mention of his wife, the tennis player, which seemed interesting. So then I wrote a story about her. And at that point, I thought, this is kind of fun. Let's keep doing this. What am I actually doing? And I realized that in order to keep doing what I was doing, I needed to have each chapter be about a different person, each chapter stand completely on its own, and each chapter feel like it's part of a different book, which in a way is the critical decision. I wanted each one to have a different feel and vibe and tone and voice. And I'm not sure I would have thought of that if I hadn't intended them originally to be independent stories. So I kept writing in that way. However, I did have one misconception. I thought that the book would move chronologically backwards. That was my idea. And when I read the chapters in that order, I had an unpleasant surprise, which was that it was very flat. And I realized that hewing to any kind of chronology, even a backward chronology, was undermining a lot of surprises and pleasures for the reader. And then I needed to actually organize it around curiosity and the satisfaction of curiosity. So that part came about through trial and error, which is very common in my writing process.
Picking up on that, we have David from Richmond, Virginia. He sent in this question.
Hi, Jennifer. First of all, I wanted to thank you for writing about some of the bands I loved as a teen, especially the Germs and Flipper. My question is, you made some very bold stylistic choices in writing A Visit from the Goon Squad, such as changing the narrative voice and choosing a PowerPoint presentation for Chapter 12. How did you arrive at the decision to write the book this way? Were you worried that it might be received as a gimmick rather than an artistic choice?
So let's concentrate on this question about the gimmick. How worried were you that this would be seen as a gimmick?
Well, I didn't worry too much about that. I was more worried about what I should call it. I did not think I should call it a novel because I thought it wouldn't satisfy conventional expectations of what a novel is, even though personally I think those are narrower than they should be. So I didn't call it a novel. I called it Nothing in the hardcover edition, which then sold very poorly. And many people in my publishing team speculated that that was partly my fault for not allowing it to have a label of any kind. So I didn't worry too much about it, honestly. The gimmickry question is important, though, and certainly with something like PowerPoint, there's always the danger that it will look like I'm imposing it on a story that could be told a different way. And all I can say to that is, it is so hard to use a genre like PowerPoint to write fiction that I promise you, superimposing it on material that didn't want it would be absolutely impossible.
But what it also gave us the opportunity is also to spread our reach into the southeast, because we do think there's an opportunity there. We feel it's underserved for our type of SME customers in the southeast, particularly some of the central towns that are well located in, with good transport links into London. And actually, our offer, which sits between your more traditional lease and your serviced office offering, is, I think, of a real appeal to SMEs. There's nothing magical about the M25 border. We do see our offer actually spreading much wider than just London, but our focus will continue to be London, which is where our biggest opportunity still is.
Now, you've been busy as well buying other properties in recent months. Given the inflationary backdrop, are you worried about the cost of repurposing and refitting those?
I mean, it's a good point. I mean, we've got a couple of projects underway at the moment. They're fixed price contracts, so fortunately that won't impact those projects near term. But you're right. I mean, material costs have gone up significantly, so we're having to factor that in. Fortunately, also seeing some tension, as I mentioned, on pricing. So they're broadly balancing out. So there's nothing that's actually threatening the viability of projects, but it's certainly we're keeping a very close eye on at the moment.
Now, you recently set a target of being net zero carbon by 2030, ahead of the industry. What is that going to involve in terms of costs to the business?
Yeah, I mean, it is a challenge, but fortunately, a lot of our repurposing that you mentioned earlier does actually deliver the net zero carbon ambitions we've got for the business. I think one of the great attributes we have as a business is we're not a developer of new buildings. Really, where we do is we take older buildings and repurpose them, bring new life to them, and as part of that, bring them up to modern standards and actually achieving all of the sustainability requirements you'd expect. There is a cost, but equally, as we bring up those standards, we can generally charge a higher rent to customers. So actually, it pretty much pays for itself.
And what are going to be the obstacles towards hitting that target?
I think for us, I mean, making sure that actually the projects are viable. So the cost equation is important, but actually nothing else that I don't think is a barrier to us. It's actually just putting our sort of focus on actually upgrading our buildings on a progressive basis over the coming years. For some customers, actually, we've got to get access to their units so that we can actually put in, for example, new cladding, new sort of double glazing in the windows, new LED lighting. So this is not rocket science. It's actually just the practicalities of dealing with a large number of individual customers and actually improving the quality of their units. As I said, over time, actually, we can then charge a higher price. But we've got around 5,000 units we need to upgrade. So, it's not a small task to actually make sure all of those are fit for purpose.
It really isn't. I mean, what sort of cost have you put on that?
I mean, there's two elements. One is our project costs. Our larger projects, I mean, it's built into those bigger project costs. I mean, we're spending 300 to 400 million, but actually upgrading around 1.2 million square feet of space. Outside that, actually, the costs are relatively low. As I said, it's putting in double glazing in windows, it's putting in LED lighting. It's around about £60 million worth of additional cost over the next 8 years. So it's 5 to sort of 7, £8 million a year. So it's not a huge cost, and it's something we would be doing as a matter of course anyway, as I say, because actually upgrading the space is what our customers expect anyway.
And you've said that this will largely pay for itself because customers will pay more for being in these sorts of buildings. I mean, typically, what sort of premium would you be able to charge in rents?
I'm not sure if I call it a premium. I think it's just the going rate for the quality of the space. I mean, there's a price for every space you have, but certainly I would say that we look for a return, 10% return on investments we make. So I wouldn't say it's necessarily a particular pound number, but actually there is certainly added value that we would expect to capture. At the moment, average rent is 30, 35, 36 pounds a square foot. It will go up over time, as I say, but I don't think I could individually say how much it will uplift by. But I don't think it'll be a premium. I think that will be the standard product.
Well, now, figures published yesterday by KPMG and the British Retail Consortium revealed that retail sales fell at an annual rate of 1.1% last month, making it the worst month for the sector since January last year. Well, the online electrical appliances retailer Marks Electrical appears to be bucking that trend. Today, it reported record sales growth, up 44% in the year to March, helped by strong demand for televisions, cooking appliances and energy-efficient tumble dryers. Well, joining me now is Mark Smithson. He's founder and chief executive of Marks Electrical. Mark, welcome to you. A lot of debate right now about the health of consumer spending. What's your assessment?
Morning, Ian. Yeah. Well, obviously, people are struggling for cash at the moment, as we all know. But we've certainly bucked the trend this year. So we floated on the stock market November the 5th last year, and we've seen a great rise in sales. The market has slightly shrunk. We've taken market share. We're certainly seeing a great increase, and it's a great set of results for the first year on the stock market.
Do you worry, though, that discretionary spending is going to tail away later this year once people's energy bills and things kick in?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's a factor, isn't it? But 80% of the products we sell are distressed purchases. So, for example, your washing machine breaks, you need a new washing machine. Your fridge freezer, defrosts, you need a new fridge freezer. And we specialise in delivering free next day delivery, which is quite unique in our market sector. A lot of our competition claim to do the same thing, but don't actually achieve that. There's our advert flying in there as well. But it's a real key part of the business. So we are pushing on very hard.
Are you having difficulty getting your hands on inventory?
We were doing through the pandemic, it was a bit of a problem. An interesting point, the suppliers were taking the stance that you were lucky to get the products, and that was the case. It did feel a bit like that, whereas now we've just tipped over we've plateaued out now, and it's great to see that the suppliers coming at you with some great offers and opportunities on buying. So we've seen the peak in inflation, I believe, in our product sector, which is great for the consumer. So it's also to help that and combat that, we've offered a lot of buy now, pay later schemes, interest-free credit to encourage sales growth as well.
What about delivery drivers? We hear a lot about labour shortages. I would assume that might be a bit of an issue for you.
Yeah, well, it was a problem. Luckily, we don't, or not luckily, but we don't employ any HGV drivers. You know, all our drivers are just normal van drivers, class 2 drivers. So we haven't had a problem in that sector. We've increased our workforce by some 50%, driving workforce over the last 12 months, because we do pay at the top end of the scale. So it hasn't been a problem in particular for us. And also, we don't have lots of satellite warehouses like the competition do, so it keeps our overheads very low. We've got one base in the centre of England, which makes it very easy to manage. You're not sort of suffering the trunking of products from warehouse to warehouse, incurring additional shipping costs, so that helps keep your overhead base very low, and it's far easier to manage.
Now, you've broadened the product range over the last year or so. You've expanded into lines such as air conditioning, boiling water taps and so on. How are those trading compared with your more established lines?
Yeah, well, we've moved into that. I mean, they're not big sectors for us, Ian. The MDA market, major domestic appliance market, is worth some 5.3 billion, along with TV as well, which is another, 2.5 billion. So it's an 8 billion market. We've got a 1% market share. So we have moved into these other sectors. It's incremental business, but we're actually broadening our offering within the current brands that we deal with. So we have increased our SKU count, which is great to give customers more choice and more offering.
Now, you mentioned earlier on that you came to the stock market in November last year. The shares are actually lower than at the time of the IPO. Are you disappointed with that?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't get too hung up on it and look at it, every day. In fact, I don't really look at it week to week, to be honest. I just, keep doing the right things, get your head down, work hard, and we've got a fantastic business. It's a profitable business, and our business will rise, once people have heard of us. We're still the UK's best kept secret. Once we get our brand awareness out there, people have heard of us, then, the sales growth will continue. Maybe at a faster rate even, and then you see your share price grow. But I don't want to get hung up on it. It's still the same business that floated, but in fact, better than the business that floated on November the 5th.
All right, Mark, we've got to leave it there. Good to talk to you this morning. Hope to see you again in future. Thank you.
Thanks ever so much, Ian. Cheers. Bye.
Well, still to come here on Ian King Live. We're going to have a look at how global markets are doing this Wednesday morning. Stay tuned.
And now it's coming from both sides and it's moving this way.
Only about half a mile from the Turkish coast, and it's evident that the boat seriously overcrowded. This is one of the most severe viruses in the world. I'm Alex Crawford and I'm Sky's special correspondent based in Istanbul.
The biggest party Tripoli has ever seen.
That's it got us then. There's a lot of action going on, a lot of hits coming in still. We aim to be the best and the most trusted place in news.
Clearly not had very much to eat at all, a lot of them extremely thin and very frail.
Look at her arms, I can put my entire hand round. This is the cocktail of drugs which the doctors at this hospital have been giving their coronavirus patients. Made for people who want clarity in an uncertain world.
Mother Nature can be vicious, absolutely savage. The world's largest falls now down to a trickle in places.
I can't imagine how much plastic is lying at the bottom of this huge lake. Whoa! Close and personal with a rhino. This is what makes the job so fantastic.
Well, a rally on Wall Street last night was followed by gains for equities in the Asia-Pacific region overnight. The Nikkei 225 in Tokyo rose by more than 1% on news that Japan's economy contracted by less than expected during the first 3 months of the year, while Sydney clawed back some of Tuesday's losses. One that I should also mention is not on the screen, but Mumbai, the main stock index there, fell slightly, and that was after the Reserve Bank of India raised interest rates by 0.5% to 4.9%. Well, in Europe, markets have traded to the downside so far this morning. Here's the current picture. All of the main European indices in the red right now. Talking points, though, include Inditex, the owner of Zara, which is up some 4% right now, and that is on the back of quarterly results. Here in London, the FTSE 100 is also in negative territory right now, down nearly 0.25%. The mining heavyweights are dragging on the index. The leading blue chip gainer, though, is Melrose, the engineering group. Have a look at this. Shares up 9.25% right now. That is after it announced plans for a £500 million share buyback. Outside the FTSE, the defence contractor Chemring is off by some 8%. That's following news of a drop in new orders, while National Express, I mentioned them this time yesterday, the shares are off another 5.5% right now following yesterday's trading update. That's a big fall over the 2 days. On the foreign exchange markets, well, the pound is continuing to drift against both the US dollar and the euro. It's down by 0.5% right now against the greenback and down by 1/3% against the single currency. A lot of that down to political uncertainty, of course. Meanwhile, the oil price, that is grinding higher as China reopens from COVID restrictions. A barrel of Brent crude right now will set you back $121.12 a barrel. That is up just under 0.5%. Well, joining me today is Tom Stevenson. He's the investment director at Fidelity International. Tom, welcome to you. Let's start with Inditex because, everyone's talking about a downturn in consumer spending. These were very strong results.
Yes, indeed they were, Ian. Profits up by about 80%, and that was on a 36% rise in sales. And I think the interesting thing to note is that the online sales, which you would expect to have fallen away, they would have obviously been strong during the pandemic. They were down by just 6%. So I think the Inditex, the owner of Zara, is an indication that if you continue to do the right thing, if you have a well differentiated offering and you execute well, then you can still produce good profits even in what are relatively tough economic times, and particularly for the consumer discretionary sectors.
Tom, is there any read across here for UK clothing retailers, the likes of Next and Marks and Spencer?
Well, I mean, as I say, I think it is still possible to make good money in retail. People are getting back to the shops. People won't stop buying clothes, etc. You need to have a good offering. You need to be different from the others, and you need to execute well.
Now, one big story that broke yesterday afternoon was a statement from Cazoo, the online car retailer. They're cutting 15% of the workforce. I mean, what made my ears prick up was that they mentioned the word recession in their statement. I don't think too many companies have dared do that so far. What did you make of that?
Yes, I mean, clearly, selling second-hand cars, Cazoo is described as the Amazon of the second-hand car market. They are operating in an area which is clearly very discretionary. If you are concerned about the future of your personal finances, then buying a replacement car is something that you can easily put off. And so I think they are particularly vulnerable to worries about recession. And whether or not we do move into a recession is absolutely key. The stock market, the most important stock market in the world, the US market, down about 20%. It's sort of hovering. It's deciding whether it's really in a bear market or whether it's just a correction. And the absolute key to that will be whether we move into recession. So it's very important to keep our ear to the ground with companies like Cazoo starting to mention the R word.
Absolutely. Now, we've had results today from Wizz Air. I'm speaking to the chief executive a little later in the programme. What did you make of their numbers today?
Yes, so I mean, I think the thing is, it's a bit concerning that they have predicted further losses in the run up to the summer. I think the thing about Wizz Air is they were a bit slow, and I'm sure that you will ask the chief executive about this. You know, they were a bit slow hedging the cost of oil, so they've clearly been caught out by that. However, the volumes are absolutely fantastic. I mean, we heard earlier in the week that the numbers of passengers in May were 5 times last year.
Welcome to Gabby Dave Global. We are a UK-based online e-commerce store, the first of its kind with license to trade in African products. Some of the products are clothing brands and all beauty accessories, hair and beauty brands, natural aphrodisiacs, processed and dried unprocessed food. Our mission at Gabby Dave is to connect African and Caribbean businesses to customers globally. At Gabby Dave, we ensure our sellers get the best deal for their products. We are not just here to help you reach a wider audience. We are also a distribution center to support business growth by fulfilling orders to your customers from our warehouse, making sure customers receive their products on time. We are inviting all Black-owned businesses to trade on our platform because we strongly believe Africans have a unique brand the customer would appreciate globally. So get in touch today and let us make your product and business go far. Here are some of the benefits of using Gabby Dave Global. User-friendly platform, track your shipment, online support, transparent process, multiple SKUs, multiple products, a platform that encourages manufacturers as well as traders. Our marketing and PR interventions amplifies yours. Organized products and categories for easy access and navigation. Access to global community, especially within UK and Europe.
One's in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Starr, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clemens, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Pram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Check me out. He tells me my energy is making him tired.
Yes!
How do you get the energy to do
I've been told that I have a lot of energy, but my goodness, I think today I have met my match, people. I have met my match, Miss Suzanne. Wow, amazing.
One of the things that's the start of the darkness. Of darkness.
So what did that
myself and the world in adjust. And 2019.
Forget the proverbial boardroom. Join me, Simone Frazier, on The CEO, the program that gives you the driving seat over your life. Every Tuesday, 8 p.m. only on Starr Radio.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour Show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour Show is your best source into the property industry.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR, S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Broadcasting live online. Turn it on. Turn it up.
It's your mouth. Bekutu, show them you got the coco set. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Harry Song, aka Mr. Songs. This is the Kingmaker Baba for the girls. We're here. This is Starr Radio. Don't go nowhere. UK, London. We they call them London for home. For here, we they call them London. And that's how you know. Just have fun and stay blessed.
In your car,
at work,
at home,
on your smartphone, broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7,
all around the world.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Are you ready to turn it up?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
heart is aching. Smile even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile. Hey, this is Archie and you are listening to Starr Radio UK and The Morning Show.
There's nobody, nothing between nothing and anything.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Are you ready?
The best radio show.
This is Starr Radio
I want to change it a little bit, all right? I don't know how to, but I know how to prune it.
In your car,
At work,
at home,
on your smartphone.
Only the best music.
I see you.
Okay, let me say massive good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth and those of you on other planets as well. We salute you all and we welcome you to the Wednesday edition of the morning show. Today is the 8th day of the 6th month, the year 2022, and the time now is 10:43 from the heart of London. Once again, I say welcome to the show. Let me say good morning to Reverend Emmanuel Chidi. Man of God, I hope you are doing very well. God bless you and thank you very much for joining us as well. Let me say good morning to the team working behind the scene, Mr. Frank Davis, Mr. Lami Koiki as well, Mr. Francis Gaya, able producer. Hey, Kojo, I hope you are doing very well. Kojo D, good morning to you. Mr. Malik Dramani Mahama, good morning. Felix all the way in Aberdeen, massive good morning to you, gentlemen. And all presenters of Starr Radio UK. Mickey Newton, good morning to you. HRH Linda Pali and all the way in Cyprus, I salute you, lady. Simon Frazier, BB Clement, and the one and only Regina Anima. Once good morning to you all, ladies and gentlemen. And once again, welcome to the show. Let me extend my greetings to our listeners in the Americas, those of you in Europe, those of you in Asia, those of you in Australia, on the African continent. Amaya Jergeni, yes, good morning to you. Anthony Adedeji, good morning to you, gentlemen. And as many of you listening to us, let me say a special good morning to Sister Marta, my sister in the house as well. Good morning to you. I hope you're all doing very, very well. Okay, so from now to 12 o'clock, I'm going to be carrying you on the wings of Starr Radio UK to the destination of the known, where we're bringing you all the news and information that you need to know. So wherever you are, don't touch the dial. Welcome once again to the program. Okay, if it's your first time of tuning in to listen to us on the morning show, this is how the program goes. I'm going to bring you the quotes for the day, the weather forecast will follow suit, then the travel update as well. We'll move on from there to have a look at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe, known as Global Trotting. Then at 11 o'clock, I'll bring you updates from Nigeria. Though we'll not be having Mr. Olaimi Koike in-house, he's fed me with the information or some of the news that is making the rounds, so I'll be bringing that your way as well. Then after that, we'll look at some of the other stories making the rounds. We'll go until 12 o'clock when I take you to the Houses of Parliament for the Prime Minister's question time. The first after he won the confidence vote. Okay. So once again, share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages. Yes, so what is going to happen? Yeah, the quote of the day says, success by chance cannot be duplicated anywhere by anyone. Success by chance cannot be duplicated by anywhere by anyone. So if God chances on you, blesses you with something, it's not something that we can duplicate it. It's a favor that God has done you. Okay, so you cannot say that the same favor has to be married. You married the same favor. No. Things will happen. You see people who win lotteries and stuff like that. Yes. Okay. You cannot duplicate that. You cannot say that I'm going to sleep the same position that the person slept, so that when I take the lottery, I will win the same way that the person. Nah. It doesn't work that way. Okay, so that's by way of the code for the day. Okay, let's go on straight to the weather front. It's been a mixture of cloud and rain and all sorts. But what are we going to be seeing today? Let me bring that your way. It is Starr Radio UK. Yeah, so for London and the southeast of England, this is how the weather is going to be for you. This afternoon we'll see scattered blustery showers developing this falling heavy and thundery at times with a chance of some hail. Now, however, there will be sunny sunshine between the showers, a breezy day expected as well. Now, this evening the showers will ease to give some late sunshine. This will be followed by dry and clear conditions developing overnight. Total temperature is going to be 21 degrees, the lowest is going to be 12 degrees. Pollen level is going to be high, UV level is going to be moderate, and pollution is going to be low. It is Starr Radio UK. Okay, let's take a quick break and I'll bring you the travel updates wherever you are. Don't touch the dial. It is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour show is your best source into the property industry.
Check it out. Keep your eyes on the road.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Okay, so keep your eyes on the roads, keep your eyes on the roads. I'll keep it navigated. I promise I'm on the Starr Radio UK travel update that comes your way every weekday from 10:40. It's now 10:48. Yes, running behind time, but hey, let me take you through the journey. I'll make sure that you arrive safely at your destination. Okay, so on the underground, apart from the district line that has got a bit of incidents there, so no service between Elscourt and Edgware Road, and severe delays between Elscourt and Ealing Broadway, Richmond, due to a faulty train at Elscourt. Now, tickets have been accepted on London buses and South Western Railway. Good service on the rest of the line. Then aside, all the others have got good service. TFL Rail, DLR, London Overground, good service there. Now moving on straight to the major roads in London. Yes, A4 and Central London Red routes have got closures. Now A41 and North Circular A406 have got serious delays. So if you can avoid it, do your best to avoid that. But keep your eyes on the roads, keep your eyes on the roads. Moving on to the river bar this morning. Apart from the Woolwich Warrior as usual, that has got special service. All the others have got good service. Now, on the final segment of the travel update, that's the National Rail. On the National Rail, we've got First Midlands Railway, that's got minor delays. First Transparent Express, First Transparent Express special service. Great Western Railway, minor delays. ScotRail special service, and South Eastern Railway have also got special service there as well. So on that note, let me say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth. Enjoy your commute for today, but you know what? Continue to keep those eyes on the roads.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it, you're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR, S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
BB Clement, the author of How to Go from Employee to Entrepreneur, and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy. Welcome back to the program. It is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. I am Archie, yours sincerely, here this morning to make sure that I drive you through the terrain of news and what more. Okay, so from archaeology to zoology, from Accra to Zanzibar, I promise you if it's making the headlines, I'm going to bring you away. However, if you want to hop in or hop on to put your comments, feel free to do so. You can put your comments on our Facebook page and I'll read that. Or you can also just wait at 11:30 exactly when the lines are opened. You can also hop on and share your take with us. So that's how the program is going to be going for you today. I'll be going today. So please don't you think of going away. Let's continue with the show. Okay. Now, interestingly, the first once we come to Nigeria, a couple of the stories that we're going to be looking at. The UN to Buhari go after attackers of Owo Catholic Church. Will Buhari be able to do that? now that virtually he is just getting to a point of the end of his tenure, maybe he will want to go out with the bank. Is that what is going to happen? Well, APC presidential primary, all aspirants who stepped down for Tinubu. I'm going to bring you the full list of the aspirants who stepped down. Did the vice president also step down as well? Well, we're going to be seeing more of that. But Tinubu speaks on endorsing Muslim ticket. On endorsing Muslim ticket. Do you think that is a good blend for Nigeria? Maybe he's a Muslim, so you're going to get another Muslim from the top to do that. Now, with the pairing of a Muslim-Christian thing during Buhari's time, how has it actually bettered the life of Nigerians as a whole? So maybe Muslim will do. Who knows? Well, it is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. All right, then. Now, let's move on straight to some other of the stories that is making the rounds in other parts of the world. Ignorant Adum Archie puts his stomach ahead of everything. Togbe Afedi's case. Now, Dr. Elikplim Kwabla Apetogbo, a special aid to Togbe Afedi, the 14th, my apologies, has reacted to Paul Adum Archie's claim that the paramount chief and Agbomefia of the Asogli attended 39 out of the 242 meetings of the council, and he reckons that is the reason why he reckons that he didn't earn whatever is being given to him, and therefore wants to return or have returned that money. But we'll be talking more, or be looking more into those stories as well. Zamrama clash, threat alleged soldiers as terrorists. Adam Bona is saying that is quite a worrying story there in Ghana. Security analyst Adam Bona has called on the military hierarchy to treat the suspect in the Zamarama line clash in Accra as terrorists. Okay, we'll be bringing you more on that. We've been talking and rumor mongering about the infiltration of terrorists into the country, but using this one of it, well, okay. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Okay, Parliament has no power to investigate Electoral Commission. Codeo project lead is saying. Really? Okay. Oh gosh. Okay, there's a story here, but it's so gruesome. I don't think I want to talk about it. Looking at the pictures. Okay, now moving on to some other stories making the rounds in other parts of the world as well. On the African continent, Lagos resident react to Owo church attack. Okay, we'll be bringing you more on that. Okay, let me see. Gunmen using explosive killed at least 21 people, including children, in an attack on the St. Francis Catholic Church. The attack, carried out moments before the church service was to end, has drawn local and international condemnation. It also leaves fear in the relatively spared southwest region, where attacks of this scale has not been recorded until now. So residents in Lagos, Nigerian commercial hub, residents say the attack is a wake-up call to the government that nowhere is longer safe in the country. So what is going to be for Nigerians? What are they going to do? As we did talk about yesterday. Now, South Africa, the Gupta brothers arrest and planned extradition, a big blow to Zuma. They've been arrested and a planned extradition has been also arranged as well. Well, they fled the country so that they will not meet the face the full rigors of the law there. However, they've been arrested. So what is going to happen there? So coming away from Starr Radio UK. Well, interestingly, in the war between Russia and Ukraine, now, you know, the soldiers, the Mariupol soldiers, the still works, those soldiers that were arrested have been sent to Russia. Some Ukrainian defenders are being moved to Russia for investigation, Russia state media have said. You come to my house, you want to rob my house. They say, sit down, let me just take everything, let me destroy your thing and go, because you have been a nuisance. And I take you to my I'll bring you to my, they take you to the person's house again to come and now investigate you. Oh, what a world that we live in. Okay. I know some people have different views when it comes to that. Angela Merkel defends her record on Putin. Her approach has been criticized, but she said she had nothing to apologize for. Why is she saying that? We'll be looking more into that. And then some other stories. Teacher shot in Uvalde calls police cowards. Now, Norfolk Race lost 11 of his students in the gun attack on a primary school in Uvalde, Texas. Okay. North Korea nuclear test anytime, warns U.S. official. His comments come as Pyongyang tested 8 missiles on Sunday, their highest daily record so far. Well, can you just imagine? Who bang? You know how many millions that is gone? Who bang? 8. Meanwhile, the country, the people are hungry. Interesting. What a world we live in. Well, when it comes to the UK, now under pressure to cut tax after confidence vote. Now, but a number 10 source say tax cuts are planned only in the longer term, with other issues taking priority. What is going to happen? Well, this morning there was an interviewee, who is alleged to be a former girlfriend of Boris Johnson, who said that Boris Johnson cannot win the second term for the party, so they reckon that he needs to be, he needs to step down, or he needs to be sacked. And I was saying that this is a bitter ex who thinks that, well, as at the time her ex, the partner wasn't the prime minister, or now that he's a prime minister and all that, whatever. The wife might be enjoying, think that, well, you need to sack him so that all this thing can be something of the past, because she is not an analyst, a political analyst, or what do you call him? In Ghana? What's the name of the poster? The big poster there? Yes, she's not anything of the sort. So how can she just predict that? Oh, you know what? Boris Johnson wouldn't win the next election. How? Well, it is all more, and we're going to be bringing your way. So stay tuned. Don't you go away. Captured Britons appear in Ukraine rebel court. The pair who fought for Ukraine are accused by Russian-backed separatists of acting as mercenaries. Well, we were told not to go involve ourselves directly in there. However, some people have done so. But what do you think about all that? It is all coming away from Starr Radio UK. Now, let's take a music break. We come back and I bring you updates from Nigeria. Stay tuned. Don't you go away.
Never changing God. Never saying, this is the God of the still the same. Yes, yesterday, today, and ever. You're not a man that you should lie before. Yes, surely an amen forever would seem harder on such radar. Yes, would seem harder. Oh my.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Around the world. In your car.
At work.
At home.
On your smartphone.
Welcome. Would seem harder. You never change. Yes, Lord. You're still the same. Yes, yesterday, today, and
yes, yesterday, today,
you're not a man.
You're not a man
that you should lie. You're surely an amen.
Surely an amen.
Forever and ever. One more time.
today and forever. You're not a man that you should lie. Surely an amen, that's your word, God. Forever and ever. Come on, what's in order? Oh, such a sing yes to Christ. All his name, yes. Come on. What's in order? Oh, such a never changing God you are. What's in order? Everybody. What's in order? Oh, such a sing yes. Yes to Christ. Hey. What's in order? Oh, such a say yes to Christ. Yes to Christ. What's in order? Can you speak in the language of the Spirit right now? Never changing God. Never changing God. He's the same yesterday.
This is Starr Radio. This is Starr Radio UK.
Wow, that is Otim Hoda. He remains the same. He never changes. Coming from CC Beidou and the Crafted Nation. Coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. It's a Wednesday edition of the morning show, and therefore you know that we are always pressed with time on Wednesdays because we want to take you to the House of Parliament for the Prime Minister's question time. But now let's go to Nigeria for some of the stories making the rounds. Well, APC National Chairman Abdullahi Adamu on Tuesday night in Abuja said truth was casualty going into the ruling party's 3-day national convention climaxing in the presidential primary election. But he went on further to say he noted that presidential contests in all political parties usually heated up the polity. Now, it is said that in all serious social political contests, truth is the first casualty. It is in this contest, said the APC chairman. Now, Mr. Adamu decried unsubstantiated negative media reports against the party in some sections, saying that there was need for the media to ensure factual reporting. Now, in the quote, he said, "We recognize the people's right to freedom of speech and of the press, but all freedoms impose a major responsibility on those who exercise them and how they are exercised," said Mr. Adamu. The reckless exercise of that freedom from the high and the low impinges on the rights and the responsibilities of all citizens. He stated that this at the party's special convention and presidential primary election. It doesn't take rocket science to unite a party. It takes sincerity of purpose, commitment, determination to sacrifice our individual interests and ambitions for the larger interests of the party, explained the APC chair. Now, Mr. Adamu stressed the need for reconciliation in all the party's state chapters. Now, efforts are required to work perfecting electoral processes in our country. This feat will not have been attained without the cooperation of everyone concerned, said Mr. Adamu. It is a clear indication that our party has emerged stronger from the grievances. We are united and we are speaking with one voice once more. But is that what Nigerians are looking for at this time? Well, somebody say, well, yes, if they are able to elect somebody who can turn the fortunes of the country around, turn that of the party and the country around, then who knows? Okay, now, so it looks like at the moment Tinubu is in the lead. But let me say that at least 7 All Progressive Congress presidential aspirants on Tuesday night stepped down for the national leader of the party, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. Now, the former governor of Akwa Ibom State, Goswo Akpabio was the first to throw in his towel. The former Ogun State Governor Ibikunle Amozun and Governor of Ekiti State Kayode Fayemi also stepped down for Tinubu. Now, Dimeji Bankole, the former Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mohammed Baduru Jigawa Governor, and Ajayi Borofis, Senator representing Ondo North, also withdrew from the contest and supported Tinubu. Ujo Onaniye, the only female APC presidential aspirant, also threw her weight behind Tinubu. Now, meanwhile, Vice President Osibanjo did not step down from the race as many had expected. Okay, so he went on to see whether he can fight for his position, but it looks like at the moment Tinubu is in pole position. So coming away from Star Radio UK, updates from Nigeria. So out of that, Tinubu has made a statement. Now, Tinubu says the national leader and the presidential aspirant of the All Progressive Congress, Bola Tinubu, has denied endorsing a Muslim ticket ahead of the 2023 presidential election. The former governor of Lagos State noted that the text message being circulated at the venue of the party's presidential primary, the Eagle Square, is false. Okay, according to Tinubu, the viral message is the handiwork of shameless, desperate, and misguided individuals. The text message was denied in a statement released by Tinubu's media office and posted on his verified Twitter handle. Well, so it's come out to debunk that statement. The statement reads, we have been informed of text messages aimed at APC delegates purportedly from Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu after other candidates and party officials making various false claims about Asiwaju and the primary process. We have been, in the quote said, we have been informed of a text message going around APC delegates at Eagle Square in Abuja, purportedly from Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, claiming that with his imminent victory at the APC presidential primary and emergence as the party's presidential candidate, the APC leader has now decided on a Muslim ticket. Now, this is nothing but a lie. It has no basis whatsoever. We join the distinguished delegates to ignore this completely. The fake text message is a ploy by some undemocratic elements to confuse and hoodwink delegates, sensing that Asiwaju Tinubu is comfortably coasting home to victory. Now, there is no truth whatsoever in any of these messages. They are lies perpetrated by shameless, desperate, and misguided individuals and should be ignored as such. Well, it's all coming your way from Star Radio UK and some news from Nigeria. Well, wherever you are, stay tuned. Don't even think of touching the dial at all. We continue with some of the stories making the rounds there. Okay, Star Radio UK. All right, moving on to some other stories. Now, what statement or what was the message of Osibanjo? Now, let me bring that your way as well. Now, it says that the Vice President Yemi Osibanjo on Tuesday night addressed delegates and Nigerians at the All Progressive Congress presidential primary. Now, reports that Osibanjo is contesting the APC presidential ticket with likes of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Rotimi Amechi, David Umahi, Rocha Okorocha, Ben Ayade, Yaya Bello, and Ogbonaya Ono, and others. You remember that I did announce earlier on. I read the other story that pertains to some stepping down. Now, addressing delegates and dignitaries at the Eagle Square in Abuja, venue of the APC presidential primaries, Osibanjo said he has been prepared in the most profound ways for the task ahead. The presidential aspirant urged the delegates to make the right decision in electing the ruling party's presidential candidate in the 2023 general election. Well, so that has been done. So far, it looks like Tinubu is in the lead. And let me try to get you some of the stories in that part. Okay. It says that Tinubu is projected to win the elections. Okay. Okay. So Tinubu is projected to win the elections. That is the APC primaries. He is going to virtually at the verge of becoming their flag bearer. At the verge of becoming their flag bearer. Now, frontline presidential aspirant Bola Ahmed Tinubu has jumped into an early lead in the race to become the All Progressive Congress standard bearer in the 2023 general elections. Now, reports the APC national leader was mentioned more often as electoral officials sought the votes of the national delegates. As the sorting of votes continues, Tinubu is being trailed by former Minister of Transportation Chibuike Rotimi Amechi and Vice President Yemi Osibanjo. No less than 2,340 delegates from across the country voted for their preferred presidential aspirant. Okay. As the sorting of the votes continues, Tinubu is being trailed by former Minister of Transport, which I've said earlier on. Now, 14 aspirants who participated in the primary include Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Vice President Yemi Osibanjo, Senate President Ahmad Lawan, Rotimi Amechi, Ogbonaya Onu, Rocha Okorocha, Dave Omahi, Yaya Bello, Tien Jack Rich, Pastor Tunde Bakari, Emeka Najiaba, Ahmed Sani Yarima, and Professor Ben Ayade, and Ikiobazi Mokelu. Okay, now 7 others who picked the party's ticket for 100 million naira each stepped down from the APC national leader and former Lagos governor. They include Ujo Kennedy Onenye, former minister of Niger Delta, Godswill Akpabio, former governor of Ogun State, Ibikunle Amosun, former speaker of the House of Representatives, Demiji Bankole, Senator Ajayi Boroface, Governor Mohammed Baduru of Jigawa State, and the Governor Kayode Fayemi of Ekiti State. Now, while 40-year-old aspirant and Pastor Felix Nicholas stepped down from Vice President Osibanjo. Okay, so that's what has gone on there. What do you reckon? What do you reckon? This all coming away from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Okay, now let's move on to one other story from Nigeria before we take a break. And this pertains to a story from the UN, or a statement from the UN. The Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, has condemned Sunday attack on St. Francis Catholic Church in Owo, Ondo State, where over 50 persons were reportedly killed. Now, calling on the Nigerian government to bring the perpetrators to justice. A statement by his spokesperson, Stephen Dujarric, read that the Secretary General condemned the heinous attack. Now, Dujarric said Secretary General emphasized that attacks on places of worship are abhorrent, while urging the Nigerian authorities to spare no effort in bringing the perpetrators to justice. According to her, the Secretary General extended his heartfelt condolences to the families of the victims and wishes a speedy recovery to the injured, and also expressed his sympathies to and solidarity with the government and people of Nigeria. But do you think Buhari has got it in him now, whilst he's at the telltale end of his presidency, to worry himself about trying to fight this menace? Because you know how he came into power? It was through a promise to address such issues that brought him to power. But hey, we don't seem to see anything of the sort going to happen. But what do you think? What do you think? This is Starr Radio UK, and it is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. All right then. So we're going to take a break now, And once we come back, we'll look at some of the other stories making the rounds across the world. Starr Radio, you okay?
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Starr, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Vedasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Woke up to an eerie morning, no children playing, no sounds of greetings, one neighbor to another. Oh, it's quiet and gloomy, please don't live here no more. No more.
Can't believe how much we've hurt each other, can't believe the damage we've done. Brothers hurting brothers, neighbor harming neighbors.
Children grieving for their parents, hacked down before their time.
Oh, I can't go out, I don't know who to trust. Fever's just the other of the day.
Is this the way we want to live? Oh,
with peace we don't have to grieve. When peace reigns, fear goes out the door. With peace we can
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
to all the hate. With peace we don't have to grieve. When peace reigns, fear goes out the door. With peace we can work out our differences. Put an end to all the hate.
Oh, I know you were hurt, the blow you've been down, so yes.
Teeth like a knife, but when muscle came back and kind.
There's no room in your heart for vengeance and hatred, no, no. And night for the night, so leaves everyone left.
Hey, we have our differences, we cannot change things making war.
Without peace, all dreams and hope.
British song that I've fallen in love with, all the way from Nigeria, coming your way. May Nigeria enjoy some peace. What about that? Well, it is All Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. 11:25 the time. In the next 5 minutes, the lines will be open for you to add your voice to the discussions. But for now, let's move on to other parts of the world. Look at the stories making the rounds there as well. For those of you who have joined us on the Facebook, I really appreciate each and every one of you. Olaniyi Abdul Wahid, good morning to you. Taiwo Akojede, Isa Ishola, Royal Crown, Wealthy G, good morning to you all, and thank you very much for joining us as well. Okay, so now let's move on to some of the other stories making the rounds this morning. Okay. Now, so when it comes to Ghana, the Dr. Eleklim Kwabla Petogbo, special aid to Togbe Afedi, the 14, has reacted to Paula Dumotri's claim that the paramount chief and the Agbomefia of the Asogli attended 39 out of the 242 meetings of the Council of State. Now, according to him, the attacks by the hosts of Good Evening Ghana are a waste of intellectual resources and tongue for their respected wise king, Togbe Afedi the 14. In a statement copied to us or sent to us, now Togbe Afedi's special aide accused Adumotri and his paymasters of putting their stomachs ahead of everything they do. Now he went on further to say, it is also very unfortunate that to the jaundiced eye, everything is yellow. Dr. Apetogbo stated in his statement. Now Paul Adumotri had stated on his show that of the 48 months the Council of State held 242 meetings, of which Togbe Afedi the 14 attended 39 meetings, it is constituted 16%. He added that the Council of State is paid every month, and he, Togbe Afedi, took all the salaries of which he is entitled to it. In giving us the narration, he should have stated that he was unable to attend all the meetings of the Council of State, yet he took all his salaries, including his car loan, a waiver from Ghana Ports and Harbors Authority to import cars, the amount of monies government took off the loans that were paid to the Council of State members are more than 365,000. He is talking about for a person who only attended 16% of Council of State meetings. If you check the Council of State transportation allowances, Togbe allowances was paid as of coming from Ho in the Volta region. Some of the members told me that ordinarily he lives in Accra, but he said he was coming from Ho. Oh my goodness, yes. So digging a debt about throwing the mud at him. Now he goes on further to say that Togbe Afedi the 14 during his time on the Council of State has never received any traveling allowance from his Ho. Now Togbe respects himself and will not bring himself to that low and cheap level. The car loan is subscribed to when he served on the Council of State, was offered by the SG Bank, and it was optional and never a loan from the government of Ghana. Meanwhile, he has paid his loan. Now, most importantly, he was the chairman of the Economic Committee of the Council of State and was one of the most committed and regular members of the Council of State meeting. The minutes of the meeting attendance are available for verification. Dr. Eleklim Kwabla Apetogbo, therefore, urged the people of Ghana to expose evil and corruption in order to rescue the nation and its resources from further decadence. Okay, well, it's all coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, bringing the time now to 11:29. So let me open the lines and then we continue with the show. Now, if you want to join in the conversation, it's 0208-133 0208-133-2257 or 58 0208 208-133-2257 or 58. Now, those of you in US, Canada, or the Caribbean area, it's 001-718-303-2737, 001-718-303-2737. Text or WhatsApp us. It is 075-396-61744, 075-396-61744. Our Twitter handle is Starr Radio UK, and email address is info@starradiouk.com. All right then. Now, so continuing with some of the stories making the rounds in Ghana as well. MPP to elect flag bearer for 2024 elections. Baumia Akoto free others to contest MPP flag bearership race. Now, Canada Japan's flag bearer poster emerges on social media. The MP for Asen Central, Kennedy Japan, has described the projection of Trade Minister Alan Chermantin and Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Baumia as possible flag bearers as unnecessary. According to him, the party must allow presidential hopefuls to contest rather than imposing some individuals to the party. Now, we have a sharp division, Alan Baumia. To me, it is rubbish. If you are a Democrat, why wouldn't you want somebody to contest? You call yourself Democrats. If you don't want anybody to contest, be a dictator and let us know, he said. Aden, so if I contest you, I am not your enemy. But when you contest and you don't win, the person would rather, who rather won, doesn't want to deal with a loser, he said. He said the party should allow members who wish to contest to do so without any obstacles. Now, so I think we should allow anybody who is a true member of the party who has interests in contesting to contest. If you want to protect MPs, protect their press so that they can do constituency work to retain power, he said, quoting the lawmaker. He said, okay, quoting the lawmaker. Meanwhile, Kennedy Japan has disclosed that he will be contesting in the upcoming presidential primaries of the new Patriotic Party ahead of the 2024 general election. What are his chances? He's a firebrand, so maybe he will see things that way, and then maybe that will bring about a change. Or what do you think? It's quite interesting. It's quite interesting. You know, how many years do we have before we go for that election? It's 2024. So let's say we still have 2.5 years, right? Okay. But it looks like we're having the election next year, like the Nigerians are doing now, where they are having their elections next year. We had the election at the same time that the US had their elections. Is anybody talking about elections where people are looking at maybe Republicans trying to nominate somebody as their president? No, not yet. But well, we eat politics, we drink politics, and we sleep politics. What about that? Okay, it is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, yesterday, whilst we were on air, I remember Mr. Kofi Ali talking about some attack that is taking place. The security analyst Adam Bonner has called on the military hierarchy to treat the suspect in the Zamarama line clash in Accra as terrorists. Now, speaking this morning, Mr. Bonner, yesterday, my apologies, Mr. Bonner indicated that the incident at Zamarama line should be a wake-up call to the security agencies to up their game and deal decisively with internal security issues. Now, when you have hoodlums in military uniform to protect somebody's land, then you know that issues to do with landguards, issues of protecting land is none of their business, since you are not a military man. Even if you are a military man, the courts are there. You don't go and shoot at people. Now, times like this, when we are faced with terrorism all over, there is terrorism all over the Sahel. In Nigeria, Togo mentions them burning everywhere. So, as far as I'm concerned, we will want to refer to them appropriately as terrorists. Now, if the state is looking for terrorists anywhere, I'm sure they will now have known that they don't have to go far. We have terrorists among us, the security analysts opined. Now, so these are terrorists probably we should be dealing with. We should take it very seriously, because these are individuals who are wearing state uniforms that belong to the military. If terrorists should storm that area, who do you think they will rely on? it will definitely be Ghana Police Service and probably the military. So if you have military uniforms being used, whether they are military officers, I will tell you that we are losing the fight against terrorism. The Accra Regional Police Command, in a statement on Monday, June 6, disclosed that a soldier and 2 others have been arrested by the police after they clashed with some youth members of the Zamraman line near Sukura in Accra over a piece of land. The residents say the parcel of land belongs to a private individual who might be in government. Interesting. A statement by the police stated that the suspect, Sergeant Isaac Abe, allegedly shot and injured 4 people in the said piece of land, or on the said piece of land. The victims, Ali Ashileli, Akim Zibo, Salam Musa, and Faisal Khalid Azuma, who sustained various degrees of gunshot wounds, were sent to Kolebu Teaching Hospital for treatment. The statement added that the two of the arrested persons, suspects Godfred Amegbo and Ofer Dakun, who were posing as soldiers, also sustained some injuries and were sent to Kolebu Teaching Hospital for treatment. If they're the military, why don't they take them to the 37 military hospital in Accra? Why not? Why do they take them to Kolebu? Maybe Kolebu, okay, because it's closer. But they are the military. Really? So let's check if they are actually part of the military. Well, these are all coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. And so some unrest in Ghana as well. Suspect and 2 victims dead in Tamale robbery. The Ghana Police Service has indicated one of the suspects in alleged armed robbery in Tamale in the northern region has died. The police say 2 other victims lost their lives in the process at the Kalariga. According to a statement, the incident, which happened on Tuesday evening, also saw 2 others sustain various degrees of injury. Now, 2 others, including one of the alleged robbery suspects and 1 other victim, sustained gunshot wounds and are receiving medical attention, the police posted on Twitter. The release, however, fell short of describing how the incident occurred. But information coming through says it happened when the suspected robbers attacked a mobile money vendor in the area who happens to be one of the deceased. Now, 2 others, including one of the alleged robbery suspects and 1 other victim, sustained gunshot wounds and are receiving medical attention. Now, they added that we are working around the clock to bring the perpetrators to justice. It is all coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Well, a final story from Ghana before we move on to other parts of Africa. The Archbishop Emeritus of Tamale, Most Reverend Gregory Kpebaya, has died. The Archbishop Emeritus of the Catholic Archdiocese of Tamale, Most Reverend Gregory Kpebaya, has passed on. He died early Tuesday, May the 31. The Catholic Church in Ghana has announced in a press statement. The statement signed by the president of the Ghana Catholic Bishops Conference, Most Reverend Philip Name, said he died at the Tamale Teaching Hospital. This sad event happened in the early hours of this morning. That's the 31st of May. Okay, back there at the Tamale Teaching Hospital, the statement said. And we also say, may his soul rest in perfect peace. It's all coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. 11:39 the time. Now, interestingly, the Gupta brothers, some information coming through, quite an interesting one. At the heart of the former South African President Jacob Zuma's travails was a notorious name, the Gupta. The Gupta brothers, wanted in South Africa for their alleged involvement in a massive corruption scheme, are now awaiting extradition after being arrested Tuesday in the United Arab Emirates. Now, Dubai police said they arrested the 2 brothers wanted of allegedly looting state money alongside the former South African president and lived in the sheikhdom for years. The arrest was the latest major extradition arrest by authorities in the United Arab Emirates. Now, South African political analyst Azanda Ngosheng believes that the arrest of Atul and Rajesh Gupta was a big blow for Jacob Zuma. Now, Ngosheng, in an interview, said there was a direct link between the Guptas and the Zuma's children, specifically his son. Now, the political analyst says if they were eventually being brought back to South Africa for prosecution, Zuma's family will also be faced with similar charges. It's all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. Your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. All right then. Okay, now let's move on to the final segments of the program. 19 minutes to the top of the hour, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Welcome back to the program, Starr Radio UK, the Wednesday edition of the morning show. For the time now, 17 minutes to the top of the hour. So we'll be bringing the first part of the program to a close is in the next 17 minutes, where we'll be taking you to the Houses of Parliament for the Prime Minister's question time. Okay, so now let's move on to some other stories making the rounds in other parts of the world for today. Okay. As you know, the Prime Minister will be facing Parliament for the first time after winning the vote of confidence. We'll be telling you more about what is going to happen. There's going to be an interesting one there. But information coming through, one dead and others hurt as car drives into pedestrians in Berlin. That's information coming through now. At least one person has been killed and 8 others injured after a car drove into a crowd on a busy Berlin street. Emergency officials say it is unclear whether the incident, which happened at around 10:30 local time, that's 8:30 GMT, that will be 9:30 here, was international or was intentional or an accident. Now, the police spokesman told reporters that the driver was arrested at the scene. The incident took place in the heart of Western Berlin and on one of its busiest shopping streets. Now, reports say the vehicle veered off the street and mounted the pavement before crashing into a shop front. Now, images from the scene shows a silver Renault Clio crashed through a display window in a cosmetic shop. There are also pictures of what appears to be a body covered in blankets in the middle of the road. Around 130 emergency workers are at the scene, according to the Berlin Police Service. The actor, John Barrowman, tweeted that he was nearby when the incident took place, and a video posted from the scene said the car had reportedly mounted a footpath before crashing into the store front. The police presence is unbelievable. They are clearing out the area. The actor said there is helicopters coming in now to airlift people. The incident happened on the corner of the busy Rankestrasse and Totzenstrasse in Western Berlin. The area is opposite the Breitspelplatz, where 12 people were killed when a truck driver deliberately drove his lorry into a crowd of people at Christmas market. Now, IS later claimed responsibility for the attack, which was carried out by an unsuccessful asylum seeker. The attacker was later shot dead by Italian police. But this time around, is it an incident or was it intentional? We'll be following the story very closely, and as and when we have any updates, we'll be putting it across as well. But it is Star Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. In other parts of the world as well, now captured Mariupol soldiers, the still soldiers, okay. Ukraine focused on, well, okay, my apologies. For the food crisis, we'll talk about it. Well, Lavrov has put honors on Ukraine over grain exports. The Russian foreign minister says he's hopeful that the issues around Ukraine's important grain export can be solved as long as Kyiv demines waters around its ports. Now, Sergei Lavrov claims Russia had already done its bit by making the necessary commitments so that the ships can sail safely. He was speaking at a press conference in Ankara following talks on the topic with Mevlut Cavusoglu, his Turkish counterpart. Cavusoglu, who has tried to broker a deal of block Ukrainian exports of grain, described the talks as fruitful, according to the Reuters news agency. Now, Ukraine is one of the world's top exporters of grain, but the Russian invasion has prevented it from sending supplies abroad. Russia denies accusation of its action are risking a global food crisis. Now, earlier, Russian reports said shipments of grain will resume this week from Benyansk, an occupied port. Who would it go to? The revenue from the sale, will it go to Russia if they are allowing that to go out from their port that they control, or where is it going to? Okay, now there's a report that's going on in Russian state media that more than 1,000 Ukrainian servicemen have been taken to Russia after surrendering at the Azovstal metal work in Mariupol. The group was previously held in Russian-controlled areas of eastern Ukraine. Now, more than 100 of them are now said to be in Moscow. A law enforcement source is quoted by the TASS news agency as saying there are plans to take more prisoners of war to Russia in future. Now, Moscow claimed in May that the total of 2,439 fighters had surrendered in the final days of the Azovstal defense. The industrial complex was Ukraine's last pocket of resistance in Mariupol. An uncertain future awaits the Ukrainians, with the Russian Supreme Court decision expected later this month on whether members of the controversial Azov battalion are a terrorist group. Why are they a terrorist group? They are defending their land, for God's sake. Whether we justify the war or not, these people were defending their land. Okay, well, so it's all coming your way from Star Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. A U.S. woman has admitted to training all-female IS battalion. Alison Fluke Ekren admitted leading an all-female IS unit in Syria and plotting attacks on the US. Interesting. Now, Alison Fluke Ekran pleaded guilty to one count of providing support to the group and admitted to training over 100 women and girls for violence. The mother and teacher turned IS leader left the US in 2011 and worked with a terror group in Libya before Syria. She faces a maximum of 20 years in prison at her sentencing in October. Fluke Ekran, 42, a former biology student and a school teacher, traveled to Syria to join the group after living in Egypt and Turkey. Now, while with IS, she led Kathiba Nusayba, an all-female battalion based in its de facto capital of Raqqa in Syria. Her primary role was to teach women and children to use weapons ranging from AK-47 rifles and grenades to suicide vests, according to officials in Virginia court on Tuesday. She admitted to training the all-female group but claimed she had never attempted to recruit children. We didn't intentionally train any young girls, she said, according to this at CNN. Some of the women she trained are expected to testify against her at a sentencing hearing. Interesting. Now, Fluke Ekran, who was known by the moniker Mohammed Al-Ameriki, also lived in Mosul, Iraq, after it was captured by IS fighters. According to prosecutors, one witness testified that her level of radicalization was off the charts and an or 11 or 12 on a scale of 1 to 10. So beyond the skills. She also admitted to discussing attacks on US soil, including at a university and shopping mall. She considered any attack that did not kill a large number of individuals to be a waste of resources, a witness said, according to the plea agreement. The documents also reveal her second husband was a member of the Ansar al-Sharia, the militant organization that attacked a U.S. compound in Benghazi, Libya in 2011. She and her husband, who was later killed in an airstrike, drafted a report for the leadership of the group after analyzing U.S. documents taken from Benghazi attacks. In court, she wept when asked by the judge if she was taking the plea agreement because of her large number of children. Her family members have previously asked the court to ban her from contacting them. According to one U.S. prosecutor, the relatives say she left a trail of betrayal and they may issue statement against her at a sentencing on the 25th of October. Right, this is all coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Let's come to London now. Well, unions are branded selfish by number 10 over rail strikes. Now, some serious rail strikes are going to take place if their needs are not met by sometime this month. 3 days continues. Now, unions have branded selfish by number 10 over rail strikes which threaten major disruption to passengers. The RMT union said it will shut down the country's railway network on the 21st, 23rd, and the 25th June after talks over pay and redundancies fell through. Now, Downing Street warned the plans will inflict pain on passengers and cause disruption and said it was determined to make railway more efficient. But RMT hit back, saying the government itself was being selfish. Now, both trains operators and the unions have said they want more talks to avoid the strikes. If industrial action goes ahead, more than 40,000 staff from the Network Rail and 13 train operators are expected to take part in what is dubbed the biggest rail strike in modern history. On the first day of the planned strike on the 21st of June, London Underground RMT workers plan to walk out in a separate dispute over pensions and job losses. The strikes are expected to affect thousands of rail passengers and 4 and for during music and sporting events, including the Glastonbury Festival and an England cricket test match against New Zealand. Information coming through said that the action would leave around a fifth of mainline rail service running on the strike days, with the majority operating for a maximum of 12 hours. But due to the walkout being 24 hours each, disruption is expected to spill into non-strike days, leading to a week of disruption. Now, what do you think is going to happen? Are they going to badge with a government badge? Who? Are they still made? What is going to happen there? We're going to see or hear more about that. Okay, now final story. The Prime Minister is under pressure to cut taxes after the confidence vote. Now, Boris Johnson is coming under pressure from his MPs to cut taxes after surviving a vote of confidence. Now, the Prime Minister's supporters believe the move will help rebuild unity in the Conservative Party and help people cope with the rising cost of living. But the ex-Cabinet Minister David Davis accused Mr. Johnson of letting things slide and warned him to get his act together quickly or leave office. And number 10 source said the Prime Minister wanted to bring in tax cuts in the longer term. They added that moving too fast in their direction could push up public borrowing and debt. But Mr. Johnson will face the House of Commons in the Prime Minister's question later. For the first time since 4 in 10 of his own MPs backed ousting him in a confidence vote last Monday. The results followed months of criticism over the parties that took place in Downing Street during lockdown, with the Prime Minister himself being fined for attending one gathering. It also came amid a rapidly rising cost of living. Mr. Johnson has urged his party to draw a line under the question about his leadership, but some Conservative MPs are still publicly calling him to quit. So what does he do? Now, the Prime Minister, whose government has recently raised national insurance to help deal with the NHS backlogs and social care funding, is now facing pressure to announce policies that will appeal to MPs from across his party. Now, he said to have hinted at reduction to the tax burden currently at its highest level since the 1940s, when he met them before Monday's vote. And at Tuesday cabinet meeting, he said, we will have the scope by delivering tax cuts, I think, to deliver considerable growth in employment and economic progress. Now, it goes on further to say that no specific measures were discussed, and on Wednesday, number 10 source said the Prime Minister wanted to cut tax in the longer term. All right then, it is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. We'll take a break, and once we come back, I take you straight to the Houses of Parliament for the Prime Minister's question time. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure coming your way once again. I'll be here tomorrow, God willing, with the Thursday edition of The Morning Show. Have a lovely day. Bye for now.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go from Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Waiting lists for women waiting for gynecological services is now in excess of 570,000, a 60% increase on pre-pandemic levels. Isn't it time that this government stops trying to protect constantly the job of a lame duck Prime Minister and actually gets on with resolving the day-to-day issues affecting women in our country?
Minister. As I've said in answer to many questions this morning, the Women's Health Strategy will be published shortly. We had over 100,000 responses. We published our vision document in December and we will be publishing the Women's Health Strategy in the coming weeks.
Before we come to Prime Minister's questions, I would like to point out that the British Sign Language interpretation of proceedings is available to watch on Parliament Live TV. We now start with questions to Prime Minister Dame Angela Riedel.
Question number 1.
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, this week is Carers Week, and I'm sure the whole House will want to join me in thanking the millions of carers across the UK for all they do to support their loved ones. We've seen the vital role carers have played in our communities during the pandemic, and we all owe them a debt of gratitude. Through our reforms on adult social care, this government is committed to continuing to support carers. And Mr. Speaker, this morning I had meetings with ministerial colleagues and others. In addition to my duties in this House, I shall have further such meetings later today.
Dame Angela Riedel.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. May I associate myself with the Prime Minister's remarks about the importance of carers in our country. This week's events, Mr. Speaker, have demonstrated just how loathed this Prime Minister is. And that's only in his own party. So, as his administration is too distracted by its internal divisions to deal with the challenges we face, can the Prime Minister explain if 148 of his own backbenchers don't trust him, why on earth should the country?
Prime Minister.
I thank the Right Honourable Lady very much for her question, and I can assure her that in a long political career so far, I have, of course, picked up, barely begun, I have, of course, picked up political opponents all over the place. And that is because this government has done some very big and very remarkable things which they did not necessarily approve of. And what I want her to know is that absolutely nothing and no one, least of all her, is going to stop us with getting on for delivering people.
Andrew Mitch.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The whole House will unite behind the Prime Minister on his determination to hold Ukrainian war criminals to account. But is he aware that there are 5 alleged Rwandan war crimes perpetrators living freely in the UK who have been doing so now for 16 years and have neither been extradited nor put before the British courts under our existing laws? As he prepares to go down to the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Rwanda, will he look carefully at this issue, because it is bound to be raised with him, and will he reassure the House and the Rwandan government he takes these matters extremely seriously, and what has so far been justice massively delayed for 16 years will not be grotesquely denied?
Prime Minister. I thank my right honourable friend for his question, and he raises an issue on which the UK has campaigned for a long time, and no country is more committed than we are to bringing war criminals to justice. I know that my right honourable friend, the Deputy Prime Minister, has raised the subject recently with the International Criminal Court. However, as he knows, and I will certainly, of course, study the case and take it up as appropriately, it is the subject of an ongoing investigation. It would not be appropriate for me to comment on it further.
We now come to the Leader of the Opposition, Keir Starr.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I couldn't make out whether that introductory noise was cheers or boos. The trouble is, I don't know whether it's directed at me or him. I joined the Prime Minister in his comments about carers. Why did his Culture Secretary, I think hiding along the bench, say that successive Conservative governments left our health service wanting and inadequate when the pandemic hit?
Mr. Speaker, everybody knows that when the pandemic hit, it was an entirely novel virus for which the whole world was unprepared. And nobody at that stage, nobody knew how to test for it. Nobody knew what the right quarantine rules should be, Mr. Speaker. But as it happened, the UK government and our amazing NHS produced, not only approved the first vaccine anywhere in the world. We were the first to get it into anybody's arms, Mr. Speaker, and we had the fastest rollout anywhere in Europe, none of which would have been possible if we'd listened to him.
I think the Prime Minister just agreed with the Culture Secretary. Perhaps she said it. They didn't deny it. Perhaps she said it because it's true.
Yeah, exactly.
It starts with GPs. People were unhappy with the service they were getting before the pandemic. Not enough GPs. Too hard to get an appointment. That's why he promised 6,000 new GPs. But his health secretary admits he won't keep that promise. Despite the hard work of doctors, people can't see a GP in person. They're unhappier than ever with GP services. If GP provision was wanting and inadequate before the pandemic, what is it now?
Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, I'm afraid he's simply wrong, because he's wrong about what we're doing. And of course, Mr. We've got to clear the COVID backlogs, and everybody understands that. Everybody understands the pressure that the NHS is under. But they are responding magnificently, and I can tell him that thanks to the investments that this government has put in, we now have 4,300 more doctors. We have record numbers. We have record numbers in training, and to the best of my, we have 11,800 more nurses this year than last year, Mr. Speaker, and 72,000 in training, and that is because of the investment that we put in, which was opposed by the party opposite. And the only reason we were able to make that investment, Mr. Speaker, is because we have a strong and robust economy, thanks to the decisions we took.
Mr. Speaker, of course he talks big, but I've got a letter here to the Prime Minister from the Honourable Member from Hereford and South Herefordshire. He said, this is you, Prime Minister, under you the government seems to lack a sense of mission. It has a large majority but no long-term plan. Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister's Big Plan Act is so tired that even once loyal MPs don't believe him. And it's not just waiting for a GP, it's waiting for all NHS treatment. Take cancer. For over a decade, waiting times for cancer care have been going up. His solution was supposed to be diagnostic hubs. The Health Secretary has been on a victory lap this week. But here's the rub, Prime Minister. Since they were opened last year, 135,000 extra people are now waiting for scans and tests. Can he think of a better way to describe soaring cancer waiting lists than wanting and inadequate?
Mr. Speaker, it is entirely right after the pandemic that people are now coming forward to get their cancer tests, and we have actively encouraged that, and that is the right thing for people to do. But as a result of the community diagnostic hubs that we are bringing in, 100 of them across the country, Mr. Speaker, we are able to cut the times for cancer diagnosis, help people to get their scans, their tests faster, and above all, we can do that, Mr. Speaker, because we're hiring more radiographers, we're hiring more nurses, we're hiring more professionals in our NHS because of the investments that we made, which, as I say, the party of Bevan tragically opposed.
Mr. Speaker, the problem is the cancer rates have been going up for 10 years, and they're even higher now. So blaming the pandemic just won't wash. Perhaps the Culture Secretary was talking about the state of NHS buildings. Before the pandemic, the NAO said they were a risk to patients. The government's response, paint jobs and fix-ups, pretending that's the same as building new hospitals. The Treasurer and the Cabinet Office apparently don't think that the refurbs are even going to be delivered. Take University Hospital North Tees. The ceiling is falling in, the roof leaks, and staff have to hose down the pipes to stop them freezing over. Failure to fix wanting and inadequate NHS buildings is putting patients at risk, isn't it, Prime Minister?
Mr. Speaker, this line of criticism is satirical, coming from a Labour government, attacking our hospital building programme, Mr. Speaker. Where they were the authors of the PFI scheme that bankrupted so many hospitals. Mr. Speaker, what we're doing instead is building 48 new hospitals. Yes, we are. Thanks to the biggest capital investment programme in the history of the NHS. From memory, we put £33 billion as soon as we came in, then another 92 to cope with the pandemic, plus another 39 billion in the health and care levy. They opposed that funding. They opposed the health and care levy. They don't have a leg to stand on. We're building the foundations of our NHS's, our health services' future, and they should support it.
Can I just say to both of you, you need to calm down, and there's two over here as well. The four of you could have a very nice cup of tea if you wish. Keir Starmer.
Oh dear. Prime Minister. Pretending. Mr. Speaker, pretending no rules were broken. Prime Minister, he chunters on. Pretending no rules were broken didn't work. Pretending the economy is booming didn't work. And pretending to build 40 new hospitals won't work either. They want him to change, but he can't. As always with this Prime Minister, when he's falling short, he just changes the rules and lowers the bar. In March, he proposed changing the NHS contract. He wants to double the length of time patients can be made to wait for surgery, from 1 year to 2 years. On top of that, he scrapped zero tolerance of 12-hour waits at A&E. 24 hours at A&E used to be a TV programme. Now it's his policy. Well, it's Health Week. And he's telling all of them.
Order! Mr. Cleverley, we've got a Tea Party gathering. I'm sure you don't want to be part of it. I will hear the question. The problem is, so do our constituents. I wonder if I were you, and I think one or two of you might be going early, what I would say is, look, I need to hear the question in the same way I expect to hear the answer. So please, Keir Starmer.
Mr. Speaker, I bet they wish they were this organised on Monday. Well, Mr. Speaker, it's Health Week, and he's telling them he's going to turn over a new leaf. So why doesn't he start by scrapping his plans to greenlight wanting and inadequate NHS standards?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, look, I've got to tell him, I just think this line of attack is not working, Mr. Speaker. But it's not working. It's not working because they refuse to approve.
Once again, I think the two of you need to calm down. So please, we don't want to see an empty front bench, Prime Minister.
Look, we've not only raised the standards in the NHS, we're not only reducing waiting times for those who have had to wait the longest, Mr. Speaker, but what we're doing more fundamentally is doing what the people of this country can see is simple common sense, and that is using our economic strength to invest in doctors and nurses and get people on the wards, get people, giving people their scans and their screens and their tests in a more timely manner and getting and taking our NHS forward. We are on target, Mr. Speaker, thanks to this government, to recruit 50,000 more nurses. Thanks to the investments, I've just got to repeat this because he doesn't seem to have heard it so far, thanks to the investments that party opposed. Perhaps he can now explain why they opposed them.
Here's Starmer.
Mr. Speaker, raising taxes because you failed to grow the economy isn't a plan for the NHS, and everyone sitting behind him knows it. Members of this cabinet admit that Conservatives left our health system wanting and inadequate when the pandemic hit. He's been in power for 3 years, and things are getting worse, not better. Fewer GPs, more waits for cancer tests, buildings still crumbling, and he's changing the rules to cover up his failure. And there is a real human pain as a result. Today I spoke to Hamza Semakula. Hamza is 20 and he plays semi-professional football for Hendon. He tore his ACL earlier this year. Because of the 2-year wait for surgery, he had to crowdfund for a private operation. I also spoke to Akshay Patel. Last year, his mother woke up unable to breathe. Akshay called 999 6 times. In his last call, he said, "I rang an hour ago for an ambulance as she had difficulty breathing, and now she's dead." Even he must admit that Akshay, Bina and Hamza deserve better than a wanting and inadequate government utterly unable to improve our NHS.
Mr. Speaker, I think everybody in the House has sympathy with Akshay and the other constituents and their families and the other constituents that he mentions, Mr. Speaker, and I share their feelings. But when you look at what this government is doing, the massive, and I must say this to him, we are making colossal investments in our NHS. We are cutting waiting times, we're raising standards, we're paying nurses more, we're supporting our fantastic NHS. And by the way, he continually came to this, I just remind him of this, and said that we had the worst COVID record in Europe. Turned out to be completely untrue. He still hasn't retracted it. We're doing it, Mr. Speaker. We can make those investments because of the strength of the UK economy, because of the fiscal firepower that we have to deploy. We have the lowest unemployment now since 1974, and we are going to continue to grow our economy for the long term. He asked about the mission of this government, Mr. Speaker. It is to unite and level up across our whole country, to unleash the potential of our entire country. The biggest tutoring program in history for young people, raising literacy and numeracy standards for 11-year-olds from 65% adequacy to our 90%. That is the highest objective I think a government could achieve. Expanding home ownership for millions of people, as my right honourable friend for Duluth and I will do, for millions of people who currently don't have it. Cutting the costs of business to make this the enterprise centre of Europe. That is our vision. Creating high-wage, high-skilled jobs for this country. And as for jobs, I'm going to get on with mine, and I hope he gets on with his.
But I didn't know you were so popular. Come on.
Well, we love all of them. Changing the subject completely, in North East Hertfordshire, we're very concerned about sewage overflows into our precious short streams. And this is damaging to the flora and fauna and also restricts the use of these precious streams for leisure. The Environment Bill included some important measures last year, and I welcome the fact that the government has consulted on its reduction plan for storm overflows. But when would we expect to see some meaningful improvements and some real reductions in the amount of sewage going into our rivers?
Yeah, well, I thank you very much, and I share his concern. I can tell him our sewage plans is the biggest investment on this by any government. We made it clear that the water companies must do more, Mr. Speaker, and actually we already are seeing improvements, but the regulator is ensuring that the water companies do more to deliver on their obligations. We will not hesitate to take further action as needed.
We now come to the leader of the SNP, Ian Blackford.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I associate myself with the remarks of the Prime Minister and the Leader of the Opposition in supporting our carers? Mr. Speaker, week after week, I've called on this Prime Minister to resign. I've been met with a wall of noise from the Tory benches. I thought they were trying to shout me down, but all this time... But all this time, Mr. Speaker, it turns out that 41% of them have been cheering me on. Because, Mr. Speaker, let's be clear, at least the numbers don't lie. 41% of his own MPs have no confidence in him. 66 of MPs across the House don't support him, and 97% of Scottish MPs want the Minister for the Union shown the door. We now have a lame duck Prime Minister presiding over a divided party in a disunited kingdom. So, how does the Prime Minister expect to continue when even unionist leaders in Scotland won't back him?
Prime Minister. I want to thank the right honourable gentleman for his characteristic warm words. And actually, Mr. Speaker, I want to say that the biggest and most powerful and effective advocate of the United Kingdom over the last time that I've been in has been that man there. Under his, I don't know how long he's going to last here as leader of the SNP, the Scottish National Assembly. Long may he rest in place, Mr. Speaker. He is the erudite that's keeping our kingdom together. I thank him for what he's doing.
Well, I can say to the Prime Minister. I can say to the Prime Minister that I'll be standing shoulder to shoulder with our First Minister as we take our country to independence. Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister is acting like Monty Python's Black Knight, running around declaring it's just a flesh wound. And no amount of delusion and denial will save the Prime Minister from the truth. This story won't go away until he goes away. For once in his life, he needs to wake up to reality. Prime Minister, it's over. It's done. The Prime Minister has no options left, but Scotland does. Scotland has the choice of an independent future. Because it's not just the Prime Minister that we have zero confidence in. It's the broken Westminster system that puts a man like him in power. Exactly. Can he tell us, can the Prime Minister tell us how it is democratic that Scotland is stuck with a Prime Minister we don't trust, a Conservative Party we don't support, and Tory governments we haven't voted for since 1955?
Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, we had a referendum, as I've told the House before, in 2014. I think he should respect the mandate of the people. And he keeps saying that he wants his independence for his country. Our country is independent, Mr. Speaker. Our country is independent. He tried 48 times to reverse it, the leader of the opposition. And the only way that independence would ever be reversed is if we had the disaster, Mr. Speaker, of a Labour SNP coalition to take us back into the EU.
Esther McVey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Earlier this week, the Prime Minister said, you cannot spend your way out of inflation, you cannot tax your way into growth, we will cut the cost of government. Here, I completely agree. So can I suggest a strong start that he scraps the inflated white elephant that is HS2, saving the government tens of billions of pounds from a budget that is spiralling out of control.
Prime Minister.
I thank my right honourable friend. In case you missed what else I said, we're cutting taxes, Mr. Speaker, for everybody who pays national insurance contributions by an average of £330, Mr. Speaker, just next month. And as for HS2, actually what it will do is deliver long-term growth and prosperity for the whole of the country, uniting and levelling up, deliver more revenues, and put us in a better position to cut taxes in the future.
Colin Eastworth.
Speaker, today we hear reports that the Prime Minister refused to consult the First Treasury Council on his plans to rip up the protocol. Now, I know this question might be a bit redundant given he might not be around very much longer, but given the Prime Minister's casual record of casual law breaking, will he give a commitment to the people of Northern Ireland that he will not break international law anytime soon?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I can tell him that the reports that he's seen this morning are not correct, and what I can also tell him is that the most important commitment that I think everybody in this House has made is to the balance and symmetry of the Belfast Good Friday Agreement. That is our highest legal international priority, and that is what we must deliver.
Dr. James Davis.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The North Wales Mainline Railway has seen little investment for over a century. In practice, this means that jobs at Manchester Airport are poorly accessible to many of my constituents with a 2-hour commute, whereas a similar journey in the southeast of the country would be just 45 minutes. So will my right honourable friend ensure that the North Wales line features within the updated rail network enhancements pipeline at the decision to develop stage?
Yes. I thank my my honourable friend. Listen, I'm a great enthusiast, Mr. Speaker, for this project. We are looking at it, and I can tell him that the Network Rail has received funding to carry out feasibility work on improving North Wales mainline journey times, and travellers in North Wales could have no more effective advocate than my honourable friend.
Kim Ledbeach.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Despite the Prime Minister's promises of new hospitals and more doctors and nurses, the Bronte Birth Centre at my local hospital in Batley and Spen is temporarily shut and is at risk of permanent closure due to staff shortages and lack of resources. The reality on the ground is that after 12 years of Conservative mismanagement, the NHS is broken. So can the Prime Minister explain to expectant parents in my constituency why, despite his promises, they are now forced to travel miles to give birth, and why his government voted against an effective long-term workforce plan for the NHS, proposed by his right honourable friend, the member for South West Surrey?
Prime Minister. I thank her very much, and I will certainly look into what's the centre that she mentions in Batley and Spen. What I can tell her, though, is that across the country we are investing massively in staff, in premises, in technology, in diagnostic centres, and I'm afraid for the party opposite to carp and to criticise is frankly absurd, because they voted against the health and care levy that is putting billions into our NHS, and they need to sort out their position. Either they support it or they don't.
Hold on. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would my right honourable friend join me in complimenting Bradford on becoming the City of Culture in 2025? Could he also praise the team from Durham, who gave a fantastic representation of what County Durham had to offer? Bradford must really be extraordinary to have beaten us. In 2025, Durham will also celebrate the bicentennial of the Stockton to Darlington Passenger Railway, which will of course distract people from Bradford. I believe that my right honourable friend is the best person to lead on delivering levelling up for the North East. And to that end, can he encourage progress on the Furry Hill Station development, reinvigorate the Leamside line, and help deliver a great county deal for County Durham?
I thank my honourable friend, and he and I have campaigned on it. I've been following his campaign on this for a long time, Mr. Speaker. I'm told that the Department of Transport is currently reviewing the business case for exactly what he has just requested. We're putting the funding in, Mr. Speaker, unlike anything the party opposite ever could have delivered.
Richard Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In Monday's confidence vote, the Prime Minister secured the support of just 2 out of Scotland's 59 MPs. That means out of the massed ranks of his Scottish Conservative colleagues, he got as much support as there are pandas in Edinburgh Zoo. The Prime Minister is an intelligent man. He must know that position's untenable. And if he's not going to do the decent thing and resign as the Prime Minister, surely it's past time he wrote a letter of resignation to himself to stand down as the Minister for the Union.
Prime Minister.
I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I really redirect the honourable gentleman to what I said to the right honourable gentleman, my friend, the leader of the SNP, because I think the more they campaign in the current circumstances for breaking up our United Kingdom with all the strength and all the merits that it has, I think the more damage they do to their own case.
Thanks, Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Supporting adults with a variety of mental health challenges, learning disabilities and conditions such as dementia. Last week, the Prince's Centre in Prince's Risborough in my constituency celebrated 10 years as an independent daycare provider. From my recent visit, it is quite clear what a happy, welcoming and supportive atmosphere has been created for all service users. So will my right honourable friend the Prime Minister join me in thanking and congratulating the manager Kim Challoner, her whole team of staff, volunteers and trustees for delivering this first-class service, and as Chequers is but a hop, skip and a jump from Prince's Risborough, will he deliver those congratulations in person?
Prime Minister.
I thank my honourable friend, who's amongst his many other distinctions, I think my MP, and I also join him in thanking the entire team at the Prince's Centre for everything that they do, and I will certainly keep his kind invitation in mind.
Abdul Khan.
Mr. Speaker,
I'd have more sympathy for the words get on with the job if it actually started in the first place. 2 weeks ago, the Prime Minister told the House, to the best of my knowledge, everybody is getting their passport within 4 to 6 weeks. However, the Passport Office is currently quoting a 10-week service time, with many of my constituents waiting well over that period. Cancelled summer trips could cost families over £1 billion. Does the Prime Minister accept that the Passport Office backlog is placing additional pressure on families already struggling with the cost of living crisis?
Actually, Mr. Speaker, what we're doing is 91% are getting their passport within 6 weeks, I can tell him, Mr. Speaker. And we are putting hundreds and hundreds more staff into the Passport Office. And the strength of demand, by the way, is a sign of the robustness of the economy, because everybody is frankly wanting to go on holiday, and quite right too, Mr. Speaker. But when it comes to travel chaos, have we heard any condemnation yet from the opposition, from the RMT and their reckless and wanton strike? What about that,
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As my right honourable friend knows, Rochester Strood is facing unrealistic housing targets, putting pressure on the council to bring forward a local plan that will close successful working docks and the loss of beloved open spaces such as Deangate Ridge, all in the name of meeting an arbitrary target. Can my right honourable friend assure my constituents who are facing this level of overdevelopment that there will be greater flexibility on housing numbers so that the council can produce a local plan that delivers the appropriate housing but protects important sites like these?
Prime Minister. I thank my honourable friend, and she speaks, I know, for colleagues up and down the country. We want to make sure that councils are able to build in the right place and sensitively to local needs, and that is what we insist on. But I just want to make it one thing absolutely clear. Part of the merit, the genius of levelling up, Mr. Speaker, is that it will encourage us to take some of the pressure, some of the heat out of the southeast of England, which has been overburdened for decades, and we can do it.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My constituent Mark is trying to sponsor 2 sisters from Ukraine to come to the UK. These 2 sisters were housed in dangerous temporary accommodation in Montenegro for several weeks, while the UK Home Office refused to process the application of the youngest sister because she's 13 and travelling without her parents, even though she had her 18-year-old sister with her. The 18-year-old sister is now in London, and the 13-year-old sister has been sent back to her hometown in Ukraine, which is under siege. Can I ask the Prime Minister, can he tell me, hand on heart, does he think sending vulnerable children back to a war zone is the right policy?
Prime Minister. Well, Mr. Speaker, of course I understand her indignation about the case that she mentions, and I know that my right honourable friend, the Home Secretary, will be looking into it. But I have to say, I do think the record of this country in processing so far, I think well over 100,000, 120,000 visas for Ukrainians is very creditable. I thank all the staff who've been involved in that effort.
Mr. Speaker, my right honourable friend will remember that in March I asked him about increased research funding for aortic dissection as called for by the Aortic Dissection Charitable Trust. Will the Prime Minister update me on the progress with this? Will he also recognise the immense value of the patient awareness videos that have been produced by TADCT featuring Whispering Bob Harris, survivors, relatives of patients, to help those going through this awful condition for the first time?
Prime Minister. Well, I thank my honourable friend for her fantastic work on this, and I know the personal circumstances that give her understanding of this campaign. I can tell her that the National Institute for Health Research is looking at what more we can do to support research on aortic dissection. I know that she's meeting my right honourable friend, the Health Secretary, shortly.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Ukrainian Freedom Orchestra and the Kyiv Symphony Orchestra are due to visit the UK this summer to perform at the BBC Proms, the Edinburgh Festival and other venues. But while other European countries are waiving their visas, to get to the UK, the musicians are facing both visa delays and prohibitive visa costs of £18,000 and £10,000 respectively. We should be doing all we can to support these Ukrainian musicians. So will the Prime Minister match our European neighbours and enable these Ukrainian artists to tour to the UK this year by expediting their visa applications and waiving the visa fees?
I think she needs to bring the particular case to my right honourable friend. But I can tell the House what they know, and I know that many honourable members, by the way, are showing a lead by having Ukrainians to stay in their own homes. I thank all honourable members for doing it. Thanks to the scheme that the UK government has put in place, I think we should be very proud of what we're doing.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister knows from his visits to Redcar and Cleveland that we enjoy miles of beautiful, uninterrupted coastline. However, since October last year, we've seen thousands of dead and dying crustaceans wash ashore. DEFRA conducted an investigation into this, which led to the theory of algal bloom being the primary cause for these deaths. However, this report does nothing to support the fishermen left devastated by this freak event through no fault of their own. Will the Prime Minister look at how he can support this vital industry to get them back on their feet?
Minister, I know my honourable friend and I were walking together on the seafront in Redcar when eating a lemon top, actually, Mr. Speaker, when somebody raised this very point with us, and I can tell him that we've ruled out chemical pollution, Mr. Speaker, but we are looking at we are making another £100 million of investment, including in communities such as his, and working with the fishing industry to help them recover from this problem.
Final question, Kenny McCaskill.
The poorest in this country currently pay the highest fuel costs through prepayment meters that have higher standing charges and higher tariffs. Belgium ensures a social tariff for the poorest and most vulnerable. As the perverse and pernicious euphemism of self-disconnection enters the lexicon, when in fact it's a politically imposed choice, not something chosen by individuals, is it not time that we provided a social tariff and ended the injustice of prepayment meters?
Prime Minister.
I thank him, Mr. Speaker, and I can tell him that what we're doing in the immediate, what we're doing right now, is helping 8 million families, 8 million households across the country with £1,200 of support, an extra £300 for pensioners who are in receipt of the cold weather payment, plus £400, Mr. Speaker, for every household in the country. And that is the support that we're giving right now to help people with the cost of energy. And the only reason we can do it, as I've said before to the House, is because of the strength of the economy and because of the brave, tough calls that we got right during the pandemic.
Right, that we know. I think the honourable member's been here long enough to know it comes after statements. We don't need to tell him the rules of the House. Right. Thank you. Right, let us move on to the statement. I call the Secretary of State for Health, Sajid Javid.
Mr. Speaker, with permission, I'd like to make a statement on the independent leadership review of health and social care. This is an important report that comes at a critical time. This government is embarking on a huge programme of reform to tackle the COVID backlogs, to improve people's experience of the NHS and social care, and to place this system on a sustainable footing for the future. But we cannot seize this opportunity and deliver the change that is so urgently needed without the best possible health and care leadership in place. Because great leaders create successful teams, and successful teams get better results. So a focus on strong and consistent leadership at all levels, not just on those who have the word leader in their job title. This will help us in our mission to transform health and care and to level up disparities and patient experiences. This review, which I've deposited in the libraries of both houses, was tasked with proposing how to deliver a radical improvement in health and social care in the leadership that is across the United Kingdom, across England. It sets out a once-in-a-generation shake-up of management, leadership and training, as well as how we can make sure that health and care is a welcoming environment for people from all backgrounds. It's free from bullying, harassment and discrimination. So, Mr. Speaker, the review was led by General Sir Gordon Messenger, former Vice Chief of the Defence Staff, and by Dame Linda Pollard, the Chair of Leeds Teaching Hospitals NHS Trust. I'd like to thank them both for taking on this role and for providing their varied experience of leadership along with everyone else in their review team who has contributed to this important review. Before I turn to the recommendations of this review, I'd like to update the House on its findings. The review found that although there are many examples of inspirational leadership within health and social care, from ward to the board, these qualities are not universal. And I quote from the report, I quote, "There has developed over time an institutional inadequacy in the way that leadership and management is trained, developed and valued. As a result, careers in management aren't viewed with the same respect and prestige as clinical careers." The review also found too many reports to ignore, that was quoted in the report, of poor behaviour, and that the acceptance of bad behaviours like discrimination, bullying and responsibility avoidance has become, and I quote again, almost normalised in certain parts of the system. We must only accept the highest possible standards, the highest standards in health and care, where failures in culture and leadership can be making the difference between life or death. So we must do everything we can in our power to share and promote brilliant, innovative management and to act firmly where standards do fall short. This means culture change from the top of the system to the front line, and the review identifies a number of areas where improvement is needed. It makes 7 transformative recommendations, and I'd like to update the House quickly on each of them in turn. First, the review recommends new measures to promote collaborative leadership and to set a unified set of values across health and care. This includes a new national entry-level induction for new joiners to health and care and a new national mid-career programme for managers. Second, the review recommends that we should agree and set uniform standards for equal opportunities and for fairness, with more training to ensure that the very best leadership approaches become ingrained, and that the CQC must support this work by measuring progress through regular assessments. Mr. Speaker, this doesn't mean more people working in diversity, but fewer. In my view, there are already too many of these roles, and at a time when our constituents are facing some real pressures around the cost of living, we must spend every penny with care. Instead of farming out important work to a specific group of managers, it must be seen as everyone's responsibility, with everyone accountable for extending fairness and equal opportunities at work. Third, the review recommends a single set of unified leadership and management standards for NHS managers. These standards would apply to everyone, including those who work part-time and flexibly, with a curriculum of training and development to help people to meet them. This is well overdue modernisation, and completing this training should be a prerequisite to advance to more senior roles. Fourth, the review recommends a more simplified, standardised appraisal system for the NHS, moving away from variation in how performance and career aspirations are managed towards a more consistent system that takes into account how people have behaved, not just what they have achieved. Fifth, the review identifies a lack of structure around careers in NHS management. It proposes a new career and talent management function for managers at a regional level to oversee and support careers in NHS management and to provide clear routes to promotion along with training and development. Sixth, the review recommends that the recruitment and development of non-executive directors needs to be given greater priority due to their vital role in providing scrutiny and assurance. It proposes an expanded specialist appointments team in the NHS tasked with encouraging a diverse talent of pipeline talent. And finally, there is currently little or no incentive for leaders and managers to move into the most challenging roles, as the barriers are often seen as simply too high. But I want leaders in the NHS to seek out those roles and not shy away from them. It is essential that we address this and get great leaders into the areas that feel left behind. The review proposes an improved offer with stronger support and incentives to recruit top talent into these positions. Mr. Speaker, these are comprehensive, common-sense recommendations, and we will be accepting them in full. The recommendations have been welcomed by groups that represent people who work throughout the NHS, including the NHS Confederation and NHS providers. By taking this review forward, we can finally bring how we do health and care leadership into the 21st century. So we have the kind of leadership that patients and staff deserve right across the country, and we make sure that some of our country's most cherished institutions can thrive in the years that lie ahead. I commend this statement to the House.
I now call the Shadow Secretary of State, Wes Streeting.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, the Secretary of State's picked quite the week to talk about standards in leadership, but I do want to say a huge thanks to NHS staff and leaders for the work they are doing against the most extraordinarily difficult backdrop. And I also want to thank General Sir Gordon Messenger and Dame Linda Pollard for carrying out this review. The 7 recommendations of the review are sensible, and I'm pleased the Secretary of State has already committed to implementing them. So as this is a rare example of decisiveness from the Health Secretary, can he tell us when he intends to publish his implementation plan? All too often, senior leadership of the NHS is in a place where it still doesn't represent the diversity of the population it serves. So instead of throwing red meat to his own backbenchers for reasons I think will probably be obvious to everyone, I'd like to hear how in particular he intends to ensure that equality, diversity and inclusion will be improved so we get the best leaders incentivised into the most challenging roles and able to provide inclusive healthcare for the breadth of diversity of our great country. And can he explain why this review has not covered leadership in primary care or social care in any detail? Surely this is a missed opportunity. And let's face it, Mr. Speaker, while he's trying to dress this up as the biggest shake-up in history, I'm not sure that giving staff an induction upon joining the NHS is a revolutionary development, and it hardly meets the scale of the challenge, because the NHS faces the biggest crisis in its history. NHS staff are in a system under pressure like never before, and there are simply not enough of them. There are currently 106,000 vacancies across the NHS, and staff are leaving in droves. In some specialties, like midwifery, they're leaving faster than we can recruit them. So I don't know how he expects NHS managers to demonstrate good leadership and deliver the best outcomes for patients when there aren't enough staff to lead. And for an organisation the size of the NHS not to have a plan for its workforce, one of the biggest employers in the world, is unbelievably negligent. What's the NHS meant to do until he eventually delivers his long-term workforce strategy, which he's been promising for some time? And how are managers meant to lead effectively when instead of thinking about patient care as their primary driver, they become buildings and facilities managers because the ceilings are falling in, and the only place that more than 40 new hospitals really exist is in the Prime Minister's imagination? He said we should accept only the highest standards in NHS management. Well, let me ask him about not the generalities but the specifics. Last month it was reported that the North East Ambulance Service bosses oversaw cover-ups of negligence, leaving around 90 families not knowing how their loved ones died. He said yesterday he's still considering whether to launch a review. Is he seriously considering protecting managers who cover up bad practice instead of standing up for grieving families. Staff in the North East were reportedly paid to sign gagging clauses. I understand attempts to get them to sign gagging clauses are still underway. So in a written question, I asked how many NDAs have been signed in the NHS since the government said they would be banned in 2014. He doesn't know, and he's refusing to investigate the use of gagging clauses in the NHS. So how can he claim to be shaking up NHS culture and dealing with bullying when he's got no interest in what's going on under his nose? Of course the NHS needs good leaders, Mr. Speaker, but when it comes to examples of poor leadership in the NHS, the Health Secretary didn't need the messenger review, he just needed to look in the mirror. This is the man who described the NHS's blockbuster video in the age of Netflix as if this was the greatest revelation since Moses received the Ten Commandments. Who has been in government for the last 12 years? Exactly. On his watch, on their watch, we have the highest waiting times in the NHS's history, the lowest patient satisfaction since 1997, longer waiting times for cancer in every year since 2010, heart attack and stroke victims are left waiting around an hour on average for ambulances, and patients are at risk of serious injury because hospital buildings are crumbling around them. And he kicked off his own Health Week, expecting applause for the fact that despite his best efforts, there are still 9,000 people waiting more than 2 years for treatment. Isn't it the case, Mr. Speaker, that he knows, I know, NHS staff know, and the public know that with this government, NHS staff are lions led by donkeys, wanting and inadequate?
Secretary of State.
Mr. Speaker, I'm not surprised by the typical response from the honourable gentleman. You're not really engaging with the real issue, showing once again he's more interested in theatrics than actually the real issues facing our NHS. Mr. Speaker, he started his comments trying to make some kind of joke about the leadership news this week, but we all know that the honourable gentleman is only interested in one leadership review in a political party in this House, and it's not the Conservative Party's leadership review that he's interested in. Now, when we look at the issues as he's raised, Mr. Speaker, he talks, actually rightly, he's talked about the importance of the workforce overall, that we need more doctors and nurses. He should know that we've got more doctors and nurses than ever before. We're recruiting at the fastest rate than ever before. 10,000 more nurses in the last year, over 4,000 more doctors in the last year, more in training than ever before. But he'll know to deal with these challenges, getting more workers, building those hospitals, which, by the way, all of those hospitals are on track. All of that requires proper funding, yet he and his party voted against the funding that the NHS needed to achieve that. And he also, again, he's actually right to talk about when things do go wrong in the NHS. Of course, they need to be properly investigated, as they were in Telford and Shropshire, and we learned about the terrible things that have been going on under successive governments in that trust, and when there is a need for other investigation, including independent ones like the one I've just asked for in Nottingham as well, that will be done. But he should understand that the best thing, what's far better than doing a review into things when they go wrong, is not having them go wrong in the first place, and that's why he should have welcomed this report.
Theresa May.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is an important review. Can I just say to my right honourable friend that there have been regular radical changes in the management of the NHS throughout my 25 years in this House, so I suggest he proceeds with care in relation to this. Leadership of the NHS, which he rightly says is important, good leadership is important, for example, to ensure that we can deal with the COVID backlogs, includes consultants. Too many experienced consultants are leaving the NHS because of problems with their pensions. So will my right honourable friend now commit to an urgent review into this issue, including looking at the changing the abatement scheme?
Mr. Speaker, can I thank my right honourable friend for her comments, and I always listen very carefully to what she's got to say with her very important experience. On the pension issue, she will know that I believe in the 2020 budget that significant changes were made, especially to the taper rate, where it kicks in from £110,000 to £200,000. That benefited, I think, the top 5% of earners in this country, but it was the right thing to do to encourage and incentivise doctors in particular to work more. But she's right to talk about what more we can do, and we are looking precisely at what further flexibilities we can offer in terms of pension arrangements.
Well, Ricky.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Health and Social Care Secretary talks about strong leadership and culture change. I'd like to point him at his government and his department's dismal record in meeting the pledge to close the inpatient units being used to trap more than 2,000 autistic people and people with learning disabilities, rather than supporting them in their own homes. We have just passed the 11-year anniversary of the scandal at Winterbourne View. Not only has his government failed in its pledge to close down units, which was the original promise made after that scandal, 560 people in inpatient units don't need to be there at all. A quarter of people in units are more than 50 kilometres from their own homes. People are spending longer in units now than they were 7 years ago. More people have been admitted to these units year on year from 2015-16. This is one of the biggest scandals and the worst failures that his government, his department has made. When is he going to act on this scandal?
Mr. Speaker, I think the Honourable Lady is right to raise the importance of this issue, and she'll know that my predecessor had asked for a review that was done in this, that we'd accepted the outcome of that review, and it is being implemented. But I hope she will understand that in implementing the outcome of that review, that it's important that we listen to clinical advice from within the NHS and make sure we put the interests of each patient first.
Chair of the Select Committee, Jeremy Hill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I thank the Health Secretary for this excellent report, and also commend Sir Gordon Messenger and Dame Linda Pollard for their work in putting it together. It's got some very important recommendations. People who run hospitals are doing one of the most difficult jobs in Britain today, and anything we can do to give them better support in their careers will help all of us. But does he agree that the elephant in the room is that one of the things that makes their job most difficult is that we have more national targets in the NHS than any other health system anywhere in the world? And that means not only there's a risk of patients turning into numbers, but we remove the autonomy from managers to actually show the leadership that Sir Gordon is advocating in this report. So will he, as he implements the recommendations, agree to look at the role of national targets in the NHS and whether we need to simplify and reduce them?
Can I thank my honourable friend for his support of the report. Of course, he speaks with incredible experience. He's right to raise absolutely the importance of targets, and sometimes targets can have unintended consequences, and actually the report does talk a bit about the importance of that issue. And I can assure him that as we make changes and work with our colleagues in the NHS to make reforms, that we will certainly be taking that into account.
Director.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I say to the Secretary of State that not as he has seen over the years as an MP and Minister, you see some excellent, outstanding managers and leaders and some not so good managers and leaders. But isn't part of the problem is that the former Prime Minister, the right member for Maidenhead mentioned about continual structural changes, which adds to instability. We've got massive recruitment and retention problems. We have record numbers coming to use hospitals at the present time. So no matter what he does to purely in leadership and improvement there will not solve all those problems. And part of the problem is, of course, is we do not have enough people to come forward to come into leadership roles. So can I say this to the Secretary of State in conclusion? Can I ask him about what point in the next 5 to 10 years would you expect to have solved the leadership crisis in the NHS?
Mr. Speaker, the honourable gentleman, he's absolutely right to talk about the importance of recruitment in the NHS, getting the right people in the first place, about retaining those people, of course. But I hope he will recognise that in doing so, an important part is played by good leadership. This morning, I went to Chelsea and Westminster Hospital. I think it's an outstanding hospital, it's incredibly well run. And I was hearing today there from the leadership team itself about the important role that they play in attracting talent and retaining it. So I hope he does recognise that.
Sir Desmond Sway.
Why is his departmental leadership advertising for a deputy director delivery for a COVID pass? What's that about?
My honourable friend, in asking that question, I believe the reason that the department is keeps that under review is that although the pass has stopped and there's absolutely no prospect, I can say, of ever it coming back into place, that it is right that when we wind this down and work on the digital resources, that all things that are necessary are looked at appropriately.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On Thursday, the 19th of May, Mr. Speaker, myself and a group of South London MPs met with South London nurses from the RNC. Secretary of State, they told us that they're tired. They told us that they're fed up. They told us that they are having to use food banks. They told us that they are seeing their salaries squeezed by the cost of living. They told us that they face bullying, intimidation, abuse at work.